Respected vascular surgeon Richard Kimball is wrongfully convicted of the brutal murder of his wife. On the lam, Richard tries to put the pieces of his wife's death together while playing a tense cat-and-mouse game with relentless US Marshal Samuel Gerard. Based on the 60s TV show of the same name, Andrew Dives as the fugitive left behind a very troublesome shoot to rocket up the box office charts, picking up a surprise Oscar win along the way. My name is Luke, and the two big dogs with me are Matt.
Your fugitive's name is Dr. Richard Kimball.
And Westy.
Well, think me up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with some of those little sprinkles on top, will you, as long as you think it.
All the right movies are on the trail of the one-armed man. You find that man!
Find that man. Find that man.
Hi everyone, welcome to All the Right Movies, a podcast on classic and hit films sponsored by Devlin McGregor Pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely.
Not really.
Nah.
But we are telling the story of Hollywood one movie at a time, and this one is a big piece.
Huge piece, yeah.
It is.
We've carried out a hard target search to bring you the incredible behind-the-scenes story of Andy Dives as the fugitive. Andy, nicknames by now.
Big Andy.
Familiar.
Yeah, close with him.
Before we go on the run, here's some information about becoming a patron of All the Right Movies. The information you've been waiting for your entire life, no doubt.
Absolutely.
What you're listening to now is ATRM Classic, our flagship podcast. Only the most recent 25 of these episodes are available to listen for free. We're generous like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The rest are only available to our patrons, and at present there are over 90 classic podcasts in our archive, and you can listen to them if you sign up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Lovely.
If you're fans of Harrison Ford, we've talked about Raiders, Last Crusade, Blade Runner, and the original Star Wars trilogy. For fans of TLJ, we've covered No Country for Old Men and JFK, and they're all available to our patrons.
Definitely.
You can also sign up on YouTube and Patreon, where you can listen to our classic podcast archive and all of the podcasts that we've created only for our patrons. That's currently over 80 episodes, which includes new monthly episodes of The Watch List, our movie review show, and double feature where we talk about films that we wouldn't necessarily get to on Classic.
Wowzers.
Oh, yes. A lot on offer, so sign up on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Patreon, where you can also become part of our movie community on Patreon as well and ask us questions for the films on the show. Any support you give would be much appreciated.
Yes, massively
Very
appreciated.
much.
Just having a look means a lot, so thank you guys.
Lovely. Very nice, that. Okay, so we're diving straight into The Fugitive, like Kimball jumping off that dam. And this was my pick. I think people might be able to guess that.
I think so, yeah.
And the reason that I want to talk about it is because it was a big one for me growing up as an early teen. And it occupied the space between the films that I watched when I was a kid and the more adult cinema of the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's still got a lot of charm and personality, and I think is a great example of outstanding, intelligent blockbuster entertainment with a few flaws.
Right, okay. Glad you put that
I'll
caveat in
just
there.
flag that right up now.
Yeah, just straight up amazing.
Yeah. Not going to be a big love in.
Yeah, I think it's one of Ford's most memorable roles, probably the most outside of the three that we've already talked about on the show, Solo, Indy, Decade.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
TLJ miraculously won an Oscar for his performance.
Yeah.
A standalone that doesn't sound that remarkable, but considering who he was up against, pretty incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get
it's
into
unreal.
that, yeah.
Like I said, I've got a few issues with the film for certain, but I think it's one of the best of the 90s, and it's got an amazing behind-the-scenes story as well. Can't wait to dive into that.
Definitely.
And Matt, I do not know what your thoughts are on The Fugitive at all,
No,
so
you
I'm
don't,
excited
do
to hear it.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I bet you are.
I bet you are.
Ooh.
Just you wait. No, this one, I think it's possibly the most 90s action film I can think of. And it was something at the time, it was sold on the very simple premise. A guy falsely accused of killing his wife goes on the run, and that guy is Harrison Ford. And that's all you needed back then. I don't know if that would be enough these days with anyone, not even Tom Cruise.
You know what? I wish it was, though.
I wish it was. There's something kind of really
really wish it
nostalgic
was.
and simple about this film, which I
there
really
is.
like. But I went to see it at the cinema. Everyone I knew went to see it. And it was also a real word of mouth film. You told people about it. You recommended it. And I think it's still a real crowd pleaser. Having said that, I think it's a bit of a puzzle as to why it was so popular, particularly when we get into all the behind the scenes stuff, which could have really sunk this film. We'll get into all that. But yeah, so it's one that's really popular. But honestly, I don't think anyone's ever been able to quite understand why and how it was.
The same as you guys. It did bridge that gap for me between like Indiana Jones and then what my dad was watching at the time.
Yeah, brilliant.
I don't remember going to the cinema to see this, but I do remember it being one of them rentals that was part of like the Saturday night. For me, it was that moment where it was like, I thought he was Indiana Jones. What's happened? He's just done Last Crusade in 89.
Yeah.
And now we've got this guy. But having looked back on this, and I'll get into this as we go, I feel like this is what Ford has done most of his career. Now that we'll look back on it, he's got this big status as being Han Solo and Indiana Jones and Rick Deckard. But like, if you look back at the majority of his work, it is this fragile guy. It is this confused guy. It is this guy trying to make all of the rights in a world of wrongs and stumbling his way through it, really. To me, I really love it. I really loved it when I was a kid because it was just easy to follow, but you felt like it was really complicated, but you kind of got it. And I love Tommy Lee Jones in it. I love the humor in it. Just enough action to keep us excited. And it was Harrison Ford, so he just kind of carried us through the whole thing. So I enjoyed watching it then. I enjoy watching it now.
Brilliant.
But I'm two different people watching it completely. So I see it from two totally different sides of the spectrum now. So this will be interesting because we did a Take 30 on it way back when, right?
Ooh, about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago. And I'd listened back to that, and it's amazing how my view has changed. Not necessarily for the better or for the worse, but just how I've noticed different things when I've been watching it from 4 years ago. I mean, I sat and said it's a wonderful, brilliant film. And it is a wonderful, brilliant film, but there's a lot wrong with it. That more than I would care to admit back then, but I'm fine to do that now. So let's dive into it. Let's find the plot holes and let's try and fill them up.
Okay, let's do it. I don't think that's possible.
There's not enough soil in the world.
The Fugitive was written by David Toohey and Jeb Stewart, based on the 60s TV show of the same name. Directed by Andrew Davis, it was produced by Arnold Corpelson for Corpelson Entertainment. Shot on location in North Carolina and Chicago, it was distributed by Warner's into theaters on the 29th of July, 1993.
Yep.
Harrison Ford stars as Dr. Richard Kimball, Tommy Lee Jones as US Marshal Sam Gerard, and they're supported by Celia Ward, Julianne Moore, Joe Pantoliano, Yaron Crabbe, and Andreas Katsoulis.
Indeed.
Okay, our fugitive name is Dr. Richard Kimball. Go get him.
The beginning.
We're in the thick of the action right from the start as details of the night of the murder cross-cut with the party that evening, Richard's interrogation, his trial, and his sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is all done very well. The attack on Richard's wife, Helen, in the credits, it's brutal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The cross-cutting between the night of and the interrogation is a real smart way to whiz through the narrative beats. Get you right up to speed immediately. The editing's really tight. I love those cutbacks to the house, the guy looking at the alarm system, the gun on the ground, those zoom cuts.
Yeah.
With the sound design as well, making mundane shots really exciting.
Yeah, and that negative view as well. It's like you're looking at the negative of a photograph when it switches.
Great.
Yeah. Reminds me of the Leeds house in Manhunter.
A little bit, yeah. I've qualified it immediately. I love this film.
Straight
As
up.
mentioned at the top.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But
And here it comes.
Here we go.
Big plot holes.
Yeah.
The film is bookended with a lot of questions for me. I think the investigation into Helen's death leaves a bit to be desired. Kimball is the cops' guy. They don't seem to have much on him at all, but they still bring him to trial. Now, I don't understand, because we've seen Richard called away to work on the way back from the party.
Yes.
We see the scene where he's in the operating theatre, surrounded by a lot of people.
Yes.
That is surely alibi enough.
Clean.
Clean.
That is a clean alibi.
But nope, straight to trial. I think the writing could do with a lot of work.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll get on to that, I think.
Really needs tightening up that.
making a big thing about his fingerprints. It's his house.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Fingerprints are going to be all over the
it's
place.
mental.
It's his wife, I'd say.
Yeah. So in the interrogation scene, Ford didn't know the questions the police were going to ask his character. Andrew Davis said this added realism to Kimball's defence and flustered answers.
Yeah. I think
Which
that
works
works
really well, actually.
Yeah.
But as we'll explain later, nobody knew any of the lines, really.
No.
But
We'll
no,
go into that,
no. Yeah. This is the only bit of Andrew Davis considered direction.
Well, that's harsh.
Well, I mean, it's true. This was written on an Etch-a-Sketch, let's be honest.
It was. And about that trial, the prosecution says you'll hear ironclad proof of Kimball's guilt. Indisputable, scientific evidence.
Yeah.
We'll hear the voice of Helen Kimball from beyond the grave, identifying her killer, her husband.
Yeah.
Now, this is a home run by the sounds of things.
Yeah.
But the voice from the grave says, please help me. He's in the house. He's trying to kill me. Richard, he's trying to kill me. Now,
Yes.
that is neither indisputable nor scientific evidence either.
No.
It's not.
And what is the one-armed man doing? Just hanging around upstairs, just chilling out while Helen conveniently mentions Richard's name on the phone?
I don't know.
What if she didn't mention his name?
Yeah.
And why the hell didn't he flee when he hears Richard calling from downstairs? Honey, I'm home. Who won the game? Smash.
Yeah, good point.
Answer me that.
I can't. All really good points.
Yeah.
All really, really good points. Yeah.
He's just got a terrible lawyer.
Really shit lawyer.
Yeah. Lionel Hutz over there.
Lionel Hutz.
Are you meant to think that that's Kimball hanging up the phone? Was this meant to be a lot more mysterious? Was it meant to be like the start of Shawshank where you didn't know if he did it or not?
Yeah.
It hasn't executed it perfectly for me.
No.
Well, of course not.
But Helen's death, I think, is vividly explained with sickening detail, particularly with those flashbacks. And Celia Ward's performance as Helen, she's only got a few scenes to make them count. And I think she's great.
Just fantastic.
Yep.
And that shallow, restricted breathing that she has on the phone to 911, that's horrendous stuff.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. And probably the longest credits we've ever seen in any film.
Too long.
The end on the 14 minutes, 50 second mark.
Are they that long? Wow.
15 minutes.
Like late Scorsese. The Departed.
Crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, he's convicted. Hook, line and sinker. That's it. Death sentence, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
To death.
Lethal injection.
Sentenced to death.
Right.
Compelling evidence, obviously.
So I would imagine the people on that bus are pretty bad bastards, let's be honest. So he's lumped on with the bad guys. This is an incredible set piece. I'll say that from the start. This escape from the bus is absolute trailer fodder.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It really is.
You are like watching that, just watch that scene of him jumping off and I'm going to see that. It's incredible. It's well done. Don't understand why he tries to get out the window that way, because that's really hard.
That'd be impossible with cuffs on.
With cuffs. So just get out normally, but that's fine. Again, I think what it does really well is it shows the morality of the character. It shows the caring nature of the character. He's not letting that guy stay behind. No. Even the guards out of there, and then, Copeland's like, kiss my ass, and he's straight out of there. But the problem with this, for me, is that this guy obviously puts like a tablet in his mouth, pretends that he's choking, and then he's starting to foam at the mouth. But they're almost at the prison. Aren't these guys expendable? Isn't he probably going to be sentenced to death anyway?
Well, I would imagine they're all on death row.
Well, I would imagine so. If not, then they're not very nice people.
No.
And it's not exactly Kimball who's doing it, so we've got no real sense of duty to any of these people.
No,
just
we don't care about them.
Just leave them. It's fine. Yeah, whatever. But no, to get the shotgun in there and get that in there and trying to help. It's from the start flawed, really. Mm-hmm. But it does set up the heart. It does set up the morality of the character. I think it's really, really good. And the action sequence itself, like I've said, is really powerful. I think the sound design's incredible. I think him running away in the shackles, it just really kind of ramps up that tension. And it's like, is he going to make it? Is he not? Jumps in the ditch just in time and the train comes over the top. So yeah, I mean, as an action sequence itself, it's probably one of the best of the 90s, I would have said.
Oh, huge. I remember when the film came out and there was a load made of this scene and this stunt.
Yeah,
I think there was pieces on the news in the UK about it, I remember, which is crazy.
It's like Harrison Ford does his own stunts kind of thing, wasn't it?
Nope.
Yeah. Not this one.
No.
And the train crash was shot for real. The moment when Kimball jumps from the train, that was achieved using a form of projection called introvision, but that is an actual train hitting a bus, just minus the engine. And the wreckage is still in the North Carolina mountains, and it has since become a ticketed tourist attraction.
Ticketed?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trying to get some money back.
Yeah, the same goes for the laundry room in the Chicago Hilton. There were ticketed tours for that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I wouldn't be bothered about that if I'm honest.
Definitely not.
Speaking about getting some money back, like the sequence cost $1 million in total. They only had one take, like I said, but it was planned out meticulously, weeks in advance, with test runs being carried out with a boxcar and a log car.
It was achieved by special effects guru William Mesa in the process called Introvision that you mentioned, Matt. Mesa explained it as a live-action compositing system. So it was an adapted version of front projection, which used a background plate as one layer, foreground imagery using projection as another. This was all composed in camera, meaning that the actor could be shot in the middle of these two already composited layers into the frame.
Right, nice.
A similar process was used in the train track sequence on Stand By Me.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, so here comes the big dog. Matt, over to you. You taking it away?
Because after this, Gerard turns up and you just think, This is the guy.
Yes.
And, you know, he's the man because he doesn't just jump in and turn it into a big ego contest, because he knows his jurisdiction, even if no one else does yet, and he just has that confidence. He can say something's not right here, and he will be proved right. He's just got to take his time. So when, like, the sheriff tells him really patronizingly, he'll be with him in just a minute, he doesn't kick off. It's just that, okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
love that.
That's amazing.
That's fine. You can tell something doesn't add up with the God story, but it's about being patient. It's about letting everyone else trip themselves up. He lets the sheriff run his mouth off and ask on whose authority, to which Jared has the answer straight away. Doesn't talk one word to the guard until they find the leg irons, which shows he's been full of shit. And it's like, oh, wow, gee whiz, look here. And then it's, where are the keys? This guy did get away, didn't he? So within 2 minutes, he's got through everyone's bullshit. He's completely in command. But again, no ego about it. He doesn't rub it in the face of the sheriff or the guard. They are just completely irrelevant to him now because his focus is Richard. So in just 2 minutes, you know, this guy's super smart, super focused, and just the last person you want chasing you down.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great when he does find those leg irons and he gets all up in that guard's face right next to him. And that speech, I mean, that is iconic. Again, Westy, like you said, that's trailer fodder, that.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I think that was the trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, I think it was, The cross-cutting of it is amazing.
The cross-cutting's great. Yeah, it really builds attention,
And speaking about that famous line, David Toohey said, I've seen Tommy Lee Jones talking about how he came up with every doghouse, hen house, penthouse, cat house in the area, hard target search. And I thought to myself, no, that's wrong. That's in my script. And by the way, I just made up hard target search. I have no idea what that means.
Sounds great, though.
It sounds
great.
Yeah.
However, Andrew Davis said one of the most famous lines in the movie was written by the copy people who were writing the trailer. Every doghouse, outhouse, etc. That was written by marketing people.
Wow.
Conflict. Does anyone know what the fuck's going on here?
Ultimately, though, it appears that Toohey is the one to believe. An excerpt from a draft of his from February 92 confirms that hard target search, gas station, farmhouse, etc., were all present early on in his drafts.
Right, okay. Yeah, change your bullshit story, guys.
So the big dog is on the case and the game of cat and mouse is underway. Or dog and mouse. Yeah.
Okay.
Having made his getaway, Richard steals some overalls and there's a live one pulled out of the wreckage. And we're picking up with Richard as he cleans himself up before his iconic death-defying jump. Over to you, Westy.
Indeed. Gets himself to the hospital. Some familiar ground. Knows what he's doing. Knows exactly where to hide, obviously. Not a problem. It's terrible, just from her part. Just, you know, is he drinking that much? The guy hasn't woke up.
He's clearly incapacitated. How can he feed himself?
How can he just, I'll have a drink of that. That's fine.
It sure is dry today, isn't it? What are you talking about?
Just lost her mind. It's Kathy Bates from Misery. She's looking after her. Oh, gee, golly gosh. Just absolutely crazy. She'll probably sees Kimball and just doesn't even care. Figment of our imagination. She just sees bearded people all over the place. Does Harrison Ford look great with a beard? Or is he the only actor in the world who looks much better without it? Because I think that face is just iconic, isn't it? When you start covering it up, it feels like it's false. It doesn't really work.
I don't like the moment where there's the dream sequence where he dreams of his wife on the bed and then he comes into the frame from the top with his disgusting beard rubbing her face. It's horrible.
You see the beard like 20 minutes before you see his nose. Loads of, like a Brillo pad. It's disgusting.
It's horrible.
But it's when the bit that reminds me of this, like everything fits lovely. He just, whatever he finds fits throughout the whole film, which is great because you're not really that bothered because the only thing is he doesn't pull the fly up, so that's fine. But that egg sandwich, that's all I think about with this sequence. And just getting it, it looks great. It's the perfect scrambled egg. You know, if it's too runny, get that out of my face.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It needs to have that firmness to it. It's got lumps that in there. Right, he's having a great time. And when he walks around that corner, I totally buy it. Like,
he is Dr. Richard Kimball.
He is the doctor. And he's like, you totally get that cup of coffee, that egg sandwich. He's just, you know, he's
eating on the go because he's busy.
He's busy. Yeah, you totally buy that. And you don't think, oh, this cop's fucking missing a trick. What an idiot. You kind of think, well, yeah, he's perfectly the same. And actually plays on that, riffs on it, says everything except the beard, which is great because he kind of riffs on you like, yeah, I get it. And he's like, Doc, and you go, oh, what is it?
Shit.
Yeah, one more thing, pulls a fly up, thank you. That with the egg sandwich in his mouth, walks off, cool as ice pops. He could just disappear at that point and be like, I've won the film, it's fine. And also when he's patching himself up, fearless,
great Nick,
no painkillers, whatever, fantastic Nick, looks absolutely great. Something to aspire to.
Something to aspire to, a 51-year-old man.
A 51-year-old man and an egg sandwich.
Well, after Richard leaves the hospital, he commandeers an ambulance, but not before providing some life-saving advice to the prison officer from the bus. What a guy. Another way of showing his character.
Yeah.
Gerard gets the word that he's stolen the ambulance. Where the hell's he going in an ambulance? And now the chase is on. Brilliant.
Yeah, I love that cut. That's great.
And who doesn't want this US Marshal's job? He's setting up base at the scene with a helicopter on hand as soon as they get word about their boy. Amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the shots of TLG and the chopper with the ambulance in the background, both in camera.
Yeah.
Great touch.
Yeah, nice.
Completely immerses you into the scene, into the film, into the surroundings. Love it. And I think this just goes to show how up against it Richard is. He can't move without being spotted somewhere. And it's the first of many cat and mouse chases between Gerard and Kimball. Gerard is so close to Kimball most of the time, but it's believable that he's able to give him the slip because Davis packs the scenes with so much detail. And with Richard now down in the sewer, we got to go for Matt.
Certainly do. I mean, you mentioned the train crash. This was the bit to me that I feel like sold the film. It was like, you've got to see it for the damn jump.
100%.
And like fundamentally, it's a pursuit sequence we've seen quite a few times before, someone through the sewers, etc. But what makes it stand out and the film stand out is the character beats and the character work going on here. You know, Cosmo, who was Pantoliano's character, complaining about getting his shoes getting wet. Gerald is telling him to shut up and get on with it. That's really funny. But the best character beat is obviously Kimball and Gerard coming face to face for the first time. And for such a simple exchange, simple dialogue, I think there's a lot to pick out because Kimball's first reaction is, I didn't kill my wife. It's not, get back or I'll shoot, because he's got the gun. He doesn't threaten, he protests. The innocence of himself is forefront of his mind throughout. And Tommy Lee Jones' delivery of I don't care has to be one of the best line deliveries in cinema because that's such like a simple, almost like nondescript phrase on the page. And he just makes it come alive. He's not saying it dismissively. He says it with this intonation that I don't care because I hear this all the time from people I deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care because it's not my job to care. It's remarkable how much he invests in that small phrase. And this simple back and forth between them has become really iconic and for good reason. And that's what makes the sequence stand out for me. Not actually the jump off the dam, because if I'm being like critical, I think Davis slightly whiffs the execution of that. The best part is the shot craning over Kimball's head.
Yeah.
So you see half.
Amazing.
That's how far down it is. But the rest of it, it's just so quickly edited to get around. Is that just a dummy they threw in there? Or is it a stuntman, but he jumped in at a much lower level? It's just bam, 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 and it's over and done with.
Yeah.
And like at first I thought I was being unfair because you can't really compare it to like what they do Mission Impossible these days, decades later. But actually, GoldenEye is only 2 years after this.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not exactly GoldenEye, is it?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. If you compare the jump off the dam and GoldenEye to this is no comparison. But it's the concept. The concept is brilliant. The concept works because the stakes are so high, and it's just how good the character building has been up to this point.
Yeah. He kind of says he doesn't care because he's not allowed to care.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not his job to care. He's there to take
that gets in the
down.
way.
Yeah.
The I don't care line was in the original script, but he didn't like it at all and kept on trying some other lines. And after they didn't work, he was persuaded to try the I don't care line. Fits like a charm.
Oh, it's amazing.
Absolute iconic.
Yeah. Plays out through the whole film as well.
Yeah.
Every exchange after that really works.
All on the back of that line and that delivery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dam jump was shot in 2 different locations, believe it or not. One was a real dam in North Carolina. Ford stood in the tunnel above the water, attached to wire to get the external shots.
You can feel that pit of your stomach sickness.
Awful.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
That overhead shot's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Very expensive throwing them dolls in there, or the models or whatever they were.
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Very expensive.
Yeah, because there were 6 Harrison Ford dummies made for this jump, and they cost around $10,000 each, and none of them made it out of there alive.
Yeah, just like Harrison Ford wouldn't have, or Richard Kimball, but miraculously he makes it.
Somehow, yeah.
You mentioned that there were 2 sets on here, Westy. The tunnels of the dam were a set built in an old steel factory. I think the footage of the actual dam itself and the set in the steel factory, I think that matches really well.
Yeah.
Continuity's great there. So set pieces are plenty in the opening act of The Fugitive, with the dam jump possibly being the most memorable in the film. Of any film at the time.
Yeah, it's up there,
time.
definitely.
The director.
A man who we haven't talked about on the podcast, a man we're unlikely to talk about again.
Very, very
Would have
possibly,
thought
yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, unless we do collateral damage anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do Above the Law.
Get in there. That's a double feature.
Yeah,
Watch this space. Get on Patreon for that.
Yeah. But I do think that is a shame because I think his work here is impressive. Westy, what about you?
Yeah, I think his work here is it is impressive when you can feel like he's in charge of it, but a lot of this I feel is down to pure luck in some respects. In some scenes, it just gels, and I think Lee Jones really steals the film, regardless of who the director's going to be. I think that performance is always going to exist. Normally, you'd have a director in there who's kind of in control of all the character development. He's in control of the whole story. He's in control of the whole tone of the film. But I think this film does tonally shift. And I think it does have a lot more of an espionage kind of feel, a cat and mouse kind of feel, a chase feel than it does an all-out action film.
Oh, without doubt.
I've never thought of The Fugitive as like an action film, like Die Hard. It just doesn't have the same feel to it. There's a lot more emotion to this, which I think is what Andrew Davis was trying to bring to it. I think he was quite muddled between, is this a big action sequence? Is this a big action film? Or is it about a guy trying to figure out what's going on? Is it like these Hitchcockian tropes to it? Can I be a bit more clever with that? And I think what he tries to do is put in both, and I don't think he respects one over the other. So to me, it feels like a bit of a mishmash. It feels like white chocolate and dark chocolate at the same time. It's like, just pick one. But no, I'll just put them together and just see what happens. They do work together, but they do kind of bash into each other now and again as I'm watching it from a directing point of view.
Right.
In that I feel like a lot of the characters, especially the US Marshals, all them guys, I feel like they all just sat in a room and came up with their own character traits.
Yeah.
I don't think Davis was like, you're like this, and you're going to react like this. Like Fincher would be very much like, if you watch Social Network, he knows how everyone's going to be in that group.
Yeah.
And you follow that exact blueprint. Whereas this feels very, very loose. Not in a bad way, because I do think films need to have that looseness to them, especially to the direction, to give them a little bit of a flow and to give them a little bit of a direction in which to go. But to me, it feels like that dam jump. When Gerard says, why don't they shut the water off? It feels like Davis just needs one of them tunnels to flood out, but he's got all three of them at the same time.
Yeah.
And he can't quite control where the water's going. Yes, it's all going to go the same direction. It goes fast, it goes slow. It feels like you're in the rapids at times. And I don't feel like I'm guided through this film by the director. I feel like I'm guided through this film by the performances. It's not a derogatory thing towards Davis. It's just, you've got these two massive personalities in Lee Jones and Ford anyway. Why wouldn't you carry it through with the personalities? But I cannot see much of Davis' personality in this film, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think he was on a high to nothing just from the start, just with the issues in production.
Which we'll get into, yeah.
And, he's not perfect as a director, but there are a couple of things that stand out to me when I think about Andrew Davis's work on this film. And firstly, I think of Chicago as a location.
Yeah.
Much like Philly in Rocky or New York in Taxi Driver. It becomes larger than life and a cliche to say, but a character in its own right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the go-to Chicago films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like we're saying, there was issues. So during pre-production, the decision was made to shoot in Chicago, despite the freezing conditions. During the St. Patrick's Day scene, it was -6 degrees or -21 with the wind chill. Imagine that. This was largely motivated by Ford, who was born and raised in Chicago and knew the locations like the back of his hand. So he kind of just led that on.
And Davis was less enthused about filming in freezing conditions, but went with Chicago because he also knew the city well, having grown up there himself. And their familiarity with the location was beneficial because of the tight schedule. Filming started in February with an August release date planned.
That's unbelievable.
Quick.
Like 6 months.
7 months,
That's really quick.
You can tell.
Yeah. DP Michael Chapman didn't have the best of relationships with Andy Davis, but he did give him a credit where credit was due in capturing the city of Chicago on screen.
Yeah.
He said a lot of it feels really like Chicago because it just has a native's eye. That's Andy's, not mine. He knew where to look.
Yeah. It feels very homely. It feels like we're seeing parts of Chicago that we wouldn't normally see.
I think the city aids the narrative so effectively and provides such a great contrast to the chase between Kimball and Gerard. The shots of the city are so vast and sprawling, showing how easy it is for Richard to blend into the city's various dark corners.
Yeah.
We can see the circles that he's moving in when he comes out of that hotel later in the film. The sign above the door says, men only. Ooh, who knows what's happening beyond those doors?
Sweet home, Chicago.
Oh. But it just shows you how under the radar Richard is operating. I can't imagine he needs ID to stay at that hotel, for example.
Definitely not.
No.
You got my cheese whiz, boy.
But similarly, we know that Gerard and his team are all over the city like a rash. And on the other side of the coin, it's easy to see how they could corner Kimball when he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think that's all about capturing the city really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've mentioned it. We'll continue to mention it. The film's got quite a few problems. But the reason that the obvious deficiencies in the writing don't put me off the film is down to all the elements papering over the cracks. You know, we've talked about the cast, but I think props need to go to Andy Davis for making something that's not just semi-coherent, but one of the great films to come out of the decade from like kind of like an intelligent thriller point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because there are some iconic moments. The train smash, the dam jump, the St. Patrick's Day parade. These are really larger-than-life moments and they paper over the cracks. And they have to keep the film afloat.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think he does that really well.
He really does. It's like the 3 big presents you get for Christmas and you forget all the little ones. I've had a really good Christmas, but I've had these 3 great things. What else do you get? I can't remember.
I got an Atari.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Don't worry about the chamois leather that somebody bought me.
Or the socks or whatever. Just push that. And chocolate and deodorant. Nah, I'm not bothered about that. Got a Super Nintendo. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, brilliant. What do you think about Andy Davis's direction here, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's such an outlier in his career. Like, the man's making Chuck Norris and Stephen Scow films, and then he makes this.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense. What really struck me, though, watching this, coming back to watching the credits, 6 editors involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, we'll get into the reasons why. It's not necessarily Davis's fault, but just think, like, we covered JFK a few episodes ago. That are 2 editors for JFK.
Yes.
Yeah. And a similar time frame as well.
The time frame for a film nowhere near as straightforward as this one is. And that's what I think makes the film. It's so sharply done. It's got a real kinetic pace to it. And every scene has something that either adds something to the narrative, tells you something about a character, or puts a further obstacle in Kimball's path. There's no messing around. There's no scene I think I would want to lose from this, because it's not indulgent ever. It's always obstacle, solution, clue, obstacle, solution, clue. And I think that combined with that great location shooting is what gives this film that personality and reputation. It's so well edited and paced, you don't get a chance to get bored with it. And that's why you don't question it. The plot loopholes until much later. Like, come back this. How long is Kimball supposed to be on the run for?
Because it's a year?
Because it seems like really quickly, like maybe a week, but then the line of dialogue, like the guy died last summer. And Richard's like, what?
They've been bothering us for a year about this. When they go to Sykes, it's like, what do you mean a year? A year ago? Like, what?
And it doesn't feel like that, does it?
No, because it isn't.
No,
because it isn't.
Because it isn't.
It isn't. The whole film's just like the rapids. It's just really hard to control. Yeah. And Davis just survived, and he's just sitting there in the boat, like Temple of Doom, just being like, fucking hell.
Got away with that.
Are we alive?
Didn't fall out so well. Yeah. I mean, that's just one example where you think, hang on a minute. But the editing gets you past that, and I think...
Yeah, it does.
You know, there are aspects that have dated a bit. I think, you know, the flashbacks in slow-mo, the echoing dialogue in those scenes, they're moments where I think, this is someone who's just done a lot of, like, B-movie junk, to be honest. But to be honest, if that's the kind of career you've had, you don't get to be self-indulgent. Because you're making films that people just want to be entertained by. So I think that's the skill set that Andrew Davis had. And yes, he's maybe looked into this story. He's maybe looked into that cast. And fair play to him. But all the same, the fact that the 6 editors putting this together, that's where I think the film came together rather than any big vision Davis brought to it.
Yeah, very possibly. Do you think he's made like a Steven Seagal film here with a really good cast and a really good crew?
Quite possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I think throwing shade on Under Siege, I don't like that too much.
Well, no, not really. I mean, that was the next step up, wasn't it? But I mean, let's just say he's made it in that ilk. And then he's went, hold on a second.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And tell you what, that Code of Silence, that Chuck Norris film, best Chuck Norris film that he's ever made.
Well, of course it is, but I mean, that's not a big push, is it?
Not going to say well.
Yeah, I can see why my defense of Andy Davis is just going to fall on deaf ears here.
So as Matt mentioned there was 6 editors on the whole production, but because of the August deadline, there was 6 editors, 10 assistants, and 6 production assistants worked around the clock to cut the film in record time.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, the original cut came in at over 3 hours. With the opening scene before Richard's wife is killed being over 30 minutes.
Wow, really? I was going to say that might have explained the year, but not like the death sequence being half an hour.
Yeah.
All right.
But obviously that was chopped down, and those moments of that scene was interspersed as a flashback narrative, and I think that really works.
It works miles better, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The editors were recognised for their efforts with the nomination at the Oscars for all 6 of them, which set a new record in the number of editors per film, which, I mean, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
2 for JFK, man. Come on.
I know, I know.
3 for the Thin Red Line. 6 for this. Thin Red Line had about 24 miles of 35mm film to go through. This, just make sure it works. This dropped plate of spaghetti, just make it straighter.
Well, Davis was drafted in to direct after his work on Under Siege, which we've mentioned, and that was also a Warner's production. And without knowing anything about the production of The Fugitive, Davis got a call from head of Warner Brothers production, Bruce Berman, who said, "Congratulations, Harrison Ford saw Under Siege over the weekend and he wants you to make The Fugitive."
But how can you say no?
Exactly.
Well, there you go.
Wouldn't, would you?
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk about the screenplay later, of course, but it's so dominant in the telling of this story that will come up everywhere in this episode. When Davis first read the script, he said, "It didn't make any sense to me. So I went into this meeting and Harrison said, 'We'll figure out how to fix it together, just me and you.'"
I'm in. Sold.
Yeah. Okay, Harrison,
Brilliant.
I believe you.
Doesn't matter if it's shit, I'm still doing that. And as Luke mentioned there about the script was being written on set. Every day there were rewrites being done. It was Davis' sister who came up with the idea of pinning the murder on the pharmaceutical executives. She was a nurse in LA, and Davis asked her what could get a doctor into trouble with the higher bubs, and she suggested that he disapproves a new miracle drug. You don't have to be a nurse to come up with that plan. I could suggest that, I think. Yeah. I mean, that's a broad stroke. There's a miracle drug, and he fucks it up. Oh, yes. Cheers, arcade. I'll get that in the fucking script.
Westy, are you in the medical profession?
And Davis said that became the basis of the plot. It was a question as to whether I could get these great actors to help me make it come alive. Tommy Lee, Joey, and especially Harrison. Everybody contributed.
I mean, that's not the work of an actor, is it? You wouldn't like the whole cast, right? We've got a script. We need to change it all, and you're going to help me. Otherwise, it's going to fall on its arse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the job of the director, to be honest.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, bless him. He's on the back foot. He did really well.
I think he did,
Let's be honest.
considering
Yeah,
everything's
he did really
against
well.
him.
Yeah.
And despite this, and because of the problems with the script, nobody had any confidence in the film. Joe Pantoliano said that everybody thought it was going to be a dud apart from Andrew Davis. Tommy Lee Jones thought it was going to end his career. And Harrison Ford said in front of Daniel Roebuck, who plays Biggs, one of Gerard's team, he said, "This is going to be my Hudson Hawk."
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Everybody thought it was going to be shit.
Yeah.
Hudson Hawk, if you've not seen it, the infamous Bruce Willis bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreadful film.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we've been talking about, Davis attributed the success of the film down to the characters and ultimately the actors playing them. He said, you have a great empathy for Harrison Ford, and then there's this bulldog force of nature, Tommy Lee Jones, who doesn't care whether he's innocent or not.
Just like we've been saying, Davis said, it's Les Miserables, that's the heart of it, and there's a reality to it, which I try to have in all of my movies. Now, this is coming from a man who later made Chain Reaction and Collateral Damage.
Did he compare The Fugitive to Les Miserables?
I believe he does.
Oh, yeah, loves it.
Very lofty.
Very lofty. Not, it's like Les Miserables or very similar or it has similar themes. It's just, it's Les Miserables.
Nice one, Andrew.
Yep.
Both Oscar winners.
Yeah.
So Andrew Davis making one of the action thrillers of the decade, despite the issues in production, The Fugitive still stands as the highest watermark in his career.
And still the best live action version of Les Miserables.
Yes. All right, movies, will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode.
So, Luke, we've got a podcast recommendation for our listeners today that I think they're really going to like.
Oh, yeah, sounds good. What have you found?
It's called Pretty Much Pop, a culture podcast. Do you know it?
I do, actually. Yeah, they talk about movies, don't they? Just like us.
Yeah.
But they dive into the whole cultural landscape as well. So they've got like TV, music, games, novels, comedy, theatre, kind of like everything we consume as entertainment.
That's it, yeah. And what's clever about Pretty Much Pop is they do ask the big questions, like how does pop culture even work when we're all watching and listening to totally different things? Where's the line between trash and treasure? You know, the kind of stuff that keeps us awake at night. Or me, anyway.
Of course. Yeah, they bring together philosophers, artists, comedians, smart people who can actually articulate why we like the weird stuff that we like. Because when you think about it, most of what we love is pretty weird.
And coming from a guy that's watched Friday the 13th Part 4 40 times, yeah, that's pretty weird.
You wouldn't say that if you'd seen Crispin Glover's dance moves. But that's exactly why I think our listeners would enjoy it. They're thinking deeply about pop culture without being pretentious about it. So, where did you find it?
I got it on Spotify, but Pretty Much Pop A Culture Podcast, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts, or head to prettymuchpop.com.
Cool. So worth checking out if you want to expand beyond just movies.
Yeah, although obviously movies are still the best bit of pop culture.
Obviously. Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The cast.
2 huge performances in The Fugitive, which doesn't leave too much room for the actual bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking about him too, but firstly it's over to Westy to talk about movie star extraordinaire Harrison Ford.
Indeed. My kettle of fish is.
Yes.
You don't say it.
Obviously, a huge fan of Ford, always have been. But watching this back, and like I said, we did this 4 years ago, and I was just shooting guns in the air. Yosemite Sam in it. Bah, Harrison Ford's just incredible. Boom, 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 no problem. But, you know, there's a real fragility to this character, and it was the first time I'd seen it. And then going back and doing some proper research on it, looking at it, like, this is the role that I think he's played more than anything else. Like, think of what predated this. Witness. There's a lot of that in there.
Yes.
There's a lot of that.
A lot of frantic in there.
Yeah.
A lot of regarding Henry, a lot of presumed innocent. Period
Yes.
Games was before this, which went on to Clear and Present Danger and that kind of
Very
role.
much.
Air Force One, it's got that kind of vibe to it. So he's always played this kind of really fragile character in a lot of his films that I think people forget about. And I think this was kind of the gateway drug to that. It was that moment where he plays somebody who doesn't have to really live in the world of action. But I think this film is where he kind of nails it and he hits that middle ground. It's not too far down and it's not too far up. I think the action sequences, you really believe that he hasn't hit anybody before, but this guy's Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know, you've that fight at the end, which I'll get into, it's just he has this real belief in morality and grounding, and you do want to kind of like be friends with him. You're on his side immediately, and he's got that real presence and that real electricity on the screen where when he's there, you just want to help him, you want to figure out what's going on, but he has this real fragile nature. Like, is he actually going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Is this going to work? Like, that damn jump should just have no tension whatsoever. You should be thinking, well, of course, it's Harrison Ford. But when he turns around, you just think, is something going to happen? Like, is he going to be paralyzed from this? Is something is something really detrimental going to happen to the character because he looks so fragile? And I think his performance in this really does highlight that. There was a few other people in the running. Alec Baldwin, which I think there was something about Patriot Games and that whole thing. Baldwin was well in the running for all that stuff. I think it was Red October time, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was. Yeah, he lost out to Ford again because Ford came on for Patriot Games, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. No, and that was meant to kind of carry on. And it's just the same with this. I think there was that real battle between them. Michael Douglas, obviously, at the time was massive. Kevin Costner was considered. Nick Nolte was considered, but Nick Nolte thought he was too old, even though he's like only a year older than Ford.
Right.
But Nolte was like, I'm not taking it. I think Nolte would have been good in the Gerard role or as Cosmo. Like, just like the older one where Gerard's like slightly
Nolte's
younger.
Definitely the Gerard role.
Yeah. But Ford's performance, it's just so genuine. Like, he means every line. He really wants it to work. Really great performance from Ford, I think.
Yeah, what really gets me is that moment that he cowers away when the photograph flash goes off in his face in the opening scenes.
Yeah.
You can really feel and see his vulnerability and pain. And all the way through, I think the only time he smiles is when he's getting that ID photo taken.
And he struggles
because he's ballsed it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's this real worry with the character all the way through. He's dragging this weight. It's really
He is
well
dragging
done.
this weight.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
You can feel it, yeah.
And he came on board because he liked the idea of playing an ordinary character thrust into extraordinary circumstances. He liked the grounded nature of Kimball, which was a contrast to his usual indie Han Solo action persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that, and he also wanted to grow a beard, and so this film was the perfect opportunity.
And then cut it straight off.
Yeah.
And then straight off. Because Warners were furious. In their words, they said they'd paid to see Ford's face.
Right.
Which is fair enough, like you were saying, Westy.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, that's the face, isn't it? That's
Of course it is, yeah. That's your movie star.
That's going to sell pictures.
But a compromise was reached the other way, where Richard starts off with a beard and then whips it off.
Producer Keith Barish said that an action star like Tom Cruise or Mel Gibson would be wrong for the tone of the film. He said that he wanted to make it a serious action movie with a serious foundation. Ford just always felt right for the film.
Yeah. Well, when does Ford never feel right?
Well, regarding Henry, probably.
Anchorman 2.
Yeah, really miscast. Yeah.
And in keeping with the script issues we've talked about, Jane Lynch said that Ford was unhappy with the dialogue in their scenes and they ended up rewriting their lines. Lynch said that Ford gave us some key advice though. It doesn't matter how smart you are, you look stupid if your mouth is agape.
Key piece of information.
Wise
really
words
great,
for us all,
yeah.
I think.
When shooting the moments of Kimball running through the woods, Ford tore ligaments in his leg. The limp that Kimball has in the film was real. Ford held off getting surgery until film had wrapped because he felt that it added to the character.
Right.
Wow. It certainly does that. Shuri did a similar thing on Raiders when they shot in Tunisia as well.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So a real movie star performance from Harrison Ford, carrying the weight of the film on his shoulders.
Indeed.
Next up, if Ford is carrying all the weight, TLJ is certainly his spotter. Over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to call yourself big dog in a film, you need to put in a performance that justifies
Absolutely.
that.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
This is a big dog performance. I mean, you're sharing
Brilliant.
a film with Harrison Ford in his absolute A-lister pomp here, and you've just got to bring your A game. And Tommy Lee Jones does that, and then some. Every scene he's in, he steals. He's in complete control, and you can see why he's got such a dedicated team following his every command of that question, because this guy, you just know he gets the job done. That's really interesting and pivotal, because in so many of these types of films, the law enforcement, the guy in charge, he's inept, or he's nowhere near as clever as the guy they're trying to get.
Yeah.
Like in Die Hard, imagine if this was Dwayne T. Robinson in charge. They'd get nowhere near Kimball. Kimball would be away and never found. But you don't get that with Gerard because he's so smart. His team is so capable. Their doggedness in hunting down Kimball and working out where he is, what he's doing. Oh, he's making IDs. Where's he making ID for? He's making it for the hospital. That's our next clue. There's a genuine tension in that Gerard. You really feel he's capable of getting him, which is such a tricky thing to do, because that should be the most predictable part of the film. Oh, well, of course he's going to get away. Tommy Lee Jones makes you doubt it. He makes you think, no, this guy could easily get him. The other interesting thing is, Gerard, technically, for a large part of this film, he's the antagonist, but you also don't want him to fail. And again, it's like Die Hard. Whenever I watch Die Hard, there's a little bit of me would always like to see Hans get away with it, because he's so charming and he's funny and he's smart and he's clever. And it's a tricky balancing act, but as much as you want Kimball to get away, you don't want him to do that at the expense of Gerard looking foolish or looking like he's failed.
They both have to win, don't they?
They both have to win.
They both have to win.
Yeah. Such a difficult thing to pull off. And I think a large part of that is down to how good Tommy Lee Jones is in this, because obviously he's got the dramatic chops, but it's the little bits of humour he brings as well. The line in humour about when he's sitting behind him thinking up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut. Really funny, really dramatic, just a wonderful performance.
Yeah. Tough as old boots, but he's got loads of... I think he's pretty much comic relief in the film, really.
He is, yeah.
Never far away from a witty quip or a wither and put down. I love it when he says, don't let them give you any shit about the ponytail. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, really good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. Happy and handsome.
Yeah.
Happy and handsome.
Brilliant.
On the back of what you were saying, Matt, I think it's all the more remarkable that we are rooting for Gerard and Tommy Lee Jones, because this is Harrison Ford who's been completely done wrong by.
Yeah.
So we're absolutely on his side, but then we still have feelings for Gerard as well.
Yeah.
That's all down to TLJ.
Yeah. I think it's because Gerard's a man of the fact, and once he realises what the facts are, you just turn him towards it, just point the light at it and
his
say,
mind.
He will, he'll go, that's facts, that's fine then. Because he's got zero emotion whatsoever. So all Kimball's got to do is find enough facts to change his mind, which is exactly what happens.
I do like the writing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, straight, yeah. So
It's not all terrible.
No,
no, definitely not.
No. They didn't use Tipex on everything.
Yeah. but this is Tommy Lee Jones writing his character that way.
Yeah,
probably.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it's so convoluted and
is.
confused. Who knows?
It's all over the place. But, I mean, ultimately it works.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Gene Hackman and John Voight were considered for the role of Gerard, but Davis had just worked with TLJ on Under Siege, and he thought he was perfect for the part.
Great.
He said Tommy Lee Jones was in Under Siege more than Steven Seagal, which can only be a good thing. That's my quote. That's not Davis's quote. Right.
Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, and Lee Jones was drawn to the moral complexities of the character, saying it was about a decent, innocent man ostracized by society, being chased by someone that was right but also wrong, which is perfect, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, perfect. And he plays it perfectly.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about the big dog, it's time that we take a little detour and bring an ATRM patron into the fold.
Okay.
As mentioned at the top, if you sign up on Patreon, you can ask us a question for the film that we're talking about. Our first of the show comes from a long-time patron of All the Right Movies, Matt Law.
Hello,
How
Matt.
you doing, Matt?
Hello, Matt.
Matt says, hi guys, long time no question. That's true.
It is.
Okay.
He says, The Fugitive is one of the most rewatchable films of the 90s in my opinion, and I can't wait to hear you break it down. Well, I hope we're doing a bang-up job so far.
Yeah, definitely.
He says 1993 alone was a stellar year for movies. My question is, can you name a better example of a supporting actor completely stealing the show from the lead actor, especially given how A-list Ford was at the time?
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a good question.
A tough one.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you go first?
I'm just going to go one because this was the first one came to mind. I thought I'm going to stick with this one because if you think back to when this film came out, Marlon Brando was such a star, but I think you come away from The Godfather just with Pacino and Jimmy Caan in mind. And I think that to me is too, considering there were pretty much nobodies at the time in the steal of film from Marlon Brando, of all people.
Yes.
So that one to me.
That's just such a good example because everyone steals it from each other because Bobby Duvall shines in that as well.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
And then you get a part two and it's John Cazale steals it from Pacino. Yeah.
It depends who you're watching.
Yeah. But I'll go Pacino and Caan in The Godfather.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you can't look too far from Rickman in Die Hard. We've mentioned him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about one of the greatest baddies ever, but Willis was nowhere near the star that Ford was at the time.
That's fair enough, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that it was a role reversal for TLJ in No Country, where Javier Bardem puts in an all-timer as Anton Chigurh.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's true.
The one that I kept on coming back to was Kilmer as Doc Holliday in Tombstone.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I've got that,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that Kurt Russell's bad or any of the other cast.
No.
Kurt Russell's amazing.
Yeah.
But Kilmer puts in the best performance of his career.
Yes, he does.
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Amazing.
And Westy, what about you?
I've gone Alan Rickman as well, but Prince of Thieves.
Oh, nice.
Brilliant.
Because he just absolutely wipes the floor with Costner, and Costner was probably one of the biggest stars on the planet at that point. Ridiculous. But I cannot look much further than Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Because like every
Without
scene
doubt.
he's in, he steals the film, not just the performance. John Goodman in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Because every time he's on, absolutely nails it. It's more of a marriage between the two of them, but he does slightly pip it for me in some scenes.
He's amazing. He must
And the
have had
last
the greatest
one,
time.
the most important, one for you, Luke, not one for you, Matt, but Clancy Brown in Highlander absolutely nails it. End of story. That's that. Done, put to bed. But it's Christophe Lambert, so he's not really got much competition.
That was literally what I was about to say. It's
You
not
would,
a
that's why
high
I got
bar
there.
to jump
I got there
over.
first. Yeah, but he's still fantastic in that film. Nails
Clancy Brown's upstage is Christophe Lambert. I'm sorry, who?
it. Who's that? What? And as soon as I said Clancy Brown, you both went, what's he going to talk about? Shawshank Redemption? Flubber? No. Highlander.
Flubber. And thank you for your question, Matt.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank
great
you.
question. Thanks, mate.
A fitting way to wrap up on TLJ, who put in one of the most memorable supporting performances of the decade.
Yeah.
Finally, we're talking about a man who was probably best known at this point as General Koskov in The Living Daylights.
Yeah.
But he had starred in a number of productions by Paul Verhoeven as well. It is a Jeroen Krabbe, no other, playing Charles Nichols.
That's the guy.
Chuck.
Now, I'd say that he is quite forgettable in the role, to be honest.
Absolutely. 100%. Well nailed. I was going to say that, but thanks, mate.
Done. Right, that's lunch.
Yeah, it is. Every time he rings him, I'm like, oh, this guy.
I don't really think it's Krabbe's fault, though. He has to contend with Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford in the cast, and he'll always come up short.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the character's poorly written. There's no flesh on the bones, no real motivation other than generic corporate greed.
Yeah.
And it's all an exposition dump right at the end.
Yeah, there's too much. Yeah. Too much at once.
He gets a few fleeting scenes, but not enough to show what he can do as an actor. The screenplay just doesn't allow it. There's no room for him, even though he is the main antagonist. But on repeat viewings, knowing what you know by the end, he does bring a nice bit of European sleaze to the role. And I mean that with all due respect.
Yeah.
He's cocky and dismissive with Gerard and his team, and it does feel like he's holding something from them. But as we find out, he's not protecting his friend, he's protecting himself.
Yeah.
I think there's a nice bit of nuance there that can be easily overlooked.
Yes, yeah.
Again, not his fault, but the scene where Richard catches up with Charlie, or Chuck, as he calls him, in the car. How much money is he holding that Richard can now afford to rent that room at the Polish lady's house?
Just a couple of bucks. What he had on him, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. There's a down payment. Do you need to go through a credit search to get this place? Because that's what you usually have to do.
No. Cold hard cash.
Yeah.
Richard Jordan was cast as bad guy Dr. Charles Nichols and shot the majority of his scenes. Really only the final fight scenes were left, but he was sadly diagnosed with a brain tumour and had to be replaced. Unfortunately, he died 3 weeks after the movie was released. That's a heartbreaker.
That is a heartbreaker. So that won't have been more than 6 months after he shot his scenes because of the quick production.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Horrible.
So Jeroen Krabbe literally came in at the 11th hour. He lived in the Netherlands at the time and got a call at night from his agent telling him about the film. The next day, literally next day, he was on the plane to Chicago, just knowing very little about the film. He said that he didn't even go through customs when he landed. He was just whisked off in a limo to the set.
Didn't know a lot about the film, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Didn't go through customs. Surely he's contravening various laws here.
Straight
That
in
wouldn't
there.
happen these days.
No.
It really wouldn't.
Do you know who I would have loved as that character every time I watch it, though? Charles Grodin.
Right.
I would have loved Grodin in there.
Why are you probably with the Chicago Police Department?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's really weird in those scenes where the helicopter's chasing the ambulance. My mind always goes to Midnight Run.
Midnight
for some
Run.
reason.
I think that's probably why I want him in there. I do feel that sequence, yeah.
Well, when he got on set, he met Andrew Davis, who thanked him for saving the film. Hold your judgment until the scenes are shot, Andrew.
Yeah.
Then he met Harrison Ford and he was a little starstruck. He said to Ford, I was called up by my agent last night and now I'm here, so I don't know what to do. And he put his arms around him and he said, I'm going to help you, buddy. Don't worry. Can you imagine that arm around the shoulder from Ford?
Some boy.
Yeah.
I'll do anything you want, Harrison.
Yeah.
So when he was there, all of the character scenes had to be shot again. Ford even wore a fake beard, taking hours in makeup to get it right.
Unbelievable. Continuity again, it doesn't stand out at all.
I can't tell that, no.
And considering the change up in the cast here, they were changing everything else in the script. They probably should have changed the character name because this Dutch man does not sound like a Chuck Nichols
Not
to
at all.
me.
All right, Chuck.
Definitely not.
So, 2 powerhouse performances in the main cast with Jeroen Krabbe adding credibility to a very strong supporting cast as well.
Yes.
The middle.
With only Gerard believing that Kimball could have made it out of that dam alive, Richard stays off the grid, sleeps rough and dyes his hair.
He does.
Meanwhile, Gerard and his team have some intel regarding another passenger from that fateful bus journey. And I'm starting us here by talking about the sting operation that takes Copeland down.
I got your man. I got your man.
Shut up!
Brilliant.
Firstly, I think it's weird when Gerard asks Renfro if his cousin still has the truck. Call him up, tell him we need it.
Yeah.
In what world are the US Marshals calling in favours from somebody's cousin who's got a van? What the fuck? They don't have their own resources.
No. But he can get a helicopter as quickly as he wants on.
Yeah, helicopter on site.
Yeah, turn
but
the water
a
off.
dirty old van. Nah.
Nah, need a van. Right.
This is a great scene, and it's great at showing how much of a badass Gerard is, if we didn't know already. They all converge on this location with absolute confidence. You think there's going to be a little bit of subtlety maybe in their approach, but Sam just smashes the door in with his foot.
Yeah. Hands.
Brilliant.
Hands.
I love it.
Yeah.
The direct approach. Newman gets taken hostage by Copeland straight away, but Sam, showing the same coolness throughout the house, makes one move through the doorway, 2 shots, bang, bang. Copeland's down. Love it when he tells Copeland's girl to shut up when she's wailing, and she shuts up instantly. Shut up.
Brilliant.
Love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And he goes out to see Newman, who's complaining of permanent hearing loss. You didn't even bargain with the guy. I don't bargain.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But whispers it. Say, how's the ear?
Yeah.
I know you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, did you hear that?
Now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It's brilliant.
That's great.
Really good.
I think it's a pretty needless scene for the plot, really.
Yeah.
We don't really know how he gets the information. Don't suppose that's really important, but neither is the scene. Nothing changes without it, but it's packed with character moments for Gerard. And it shows that if he gets close enough to Richard, Richard's in big trouble because Copeland went down without a second thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great character moment nonetheless.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about a similar scene because all these scenes of Gerard and his team, they're so good and so enjoyable because you see how well honed they are and how much Gerard values them, which is why they love working for them. I mean, we've just talked about what he said to Newman, but I love when it cuts to him on the phone to obviously some superior trying to get an explanation of what's gone on.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Gerard has to defend this shooting, and he refers to Newman as one of his kids, which I think says a lot about how Gerard views his team. And what's really interesting is he doesn't throw him under the bus. There's no, well, he was new in the field, he's a bit naive, he got caught out. He's just, well, I guess you can blame me. Yeah, I shot the guy. And then that's it, hangs up. I really love that about Gerard.
Love it.
Yeah.
And then you get into the scene where they're listening to the tape that Kimball's made to his lawyer. And what I really like about this is that everyone's smart and good at the job. No one is in this team who is dumb or lazy or just there for a bit of comic relief. And that all comes into play when they're listening to that tape. One of them knows instantly, that's an L train. Then they start narrowing down, well, which cities have L's? This one does, that one does, that one does. One of them can isolate the audio, which I don't know if you can do that when it's just on like magnetic tape.
No, you
Just
can't.
on a mono recording.
Just on a mono recording.
It's certainly not that easily.
No.
Not that quickly either. No.
Not that quickly.
No. So there's a plot hole. But we skip over that because, like I say, it's really good and exciting to see him just working this stuff out. And then another one works out, oh, that's what's being said in the background. So that's where he is. He's right here. So for all like the big dog stuff that Gerard trots out, these guys are a proper team. And this scene demonstrates that and that wonderful balance that the film has. In Gerard's investigation is just as fascinating as Richard's attempt to evade capture and work out what's happened to his wife. It's like what I said about Tommy Lee Jones's performance. You shouldn't want them to be able to put these clues together, but you actually really want them to do it.
Yeah. It's like the whole group's been handpicked by Gerard and nobody's inept.
Oh, definitely not.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They all add a little bit of comic relief to the scenes as well. It's not just Gerard. Sammy, when I die, I want to come back just like you.
Yeah.
What, Happy and Handsome?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll notify the press. No press. Right. No press.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great delivery.
Yeah. You can tell that they've worked that out between themselves. That's not like in the script. That's Tommy Lee Jones going, oh, guys, what can we do? Let's all make this fun.
I'll say this, you say that,
Why
and
you
then you
wondering?
come back with this.
Yeah. So straight after that, we'll have Kimball in the dream sequence. Now, there's some bits in this dream sequence that work, and there's some bits that really don't. And he's kind of playing on the horror tropes a little bit too much for me in some of this. Like it's when she's kind of straight at the camera, like Richard, and it closes really fast, and it's just enough for me. Please wake up there. That's fine. Because anything more of that would have been really kind of cringe, but he just pulls it out at the right moment.
Yeah,
but this
I think
is
so.
really silence. This is the Silence of the Lambs moment, isn't it?
Totally.
From like 2 years ago. What can we do? Oh, right. This is build attention. We think it's actually going to happen. It's really well placed in the film. I know that we've talked about that Copeland bit. That could have been anywhere, but this is really necessary because you think, right, he's done for. He's got nowhere to go. He's absolutely lost. How are we going to get out of this?
Yes.
And it really adds to the tension, like I've said, without being a massive action sequence, because there could have been a big shootout here. There could have been a lot played on this on top of it, but it's a psychological sequence where you are on board with Kimball. And I think it really spurs the character on to know that he's got away with this. So now he really needs to find out, because I think in his head, he thinks, I'm done for, I'm captured. I haven't done everything I wanted to do. And you get that from Ford's performance where he's just looking out thinking, I've got a second chance at this now.
Yeah.
Because this kid's now been taken down. And it turns out later that the kid can recognize him, and then that's where it spurns on from there, which is really good plot-wise. It really works.
Yeah, I like that.
But at this moment, I think it just really gives the audience a bit more fire and wakes you up a little bit to be like, look, he could get caught at any minute. You thought he was going to. Now he's really got to step up and find out what's going on. It's brilliant placement. Really, really good narrative choice in The Fugitive. It's probably the only one.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because Richard knows that the likelihood is that he's going to get fingered by the guy, the son.
Yeah.
So he has to make his move now.
Yeah.
And he knows that Gerard's going to be on his case.
He's been scared into doing it.
Brilliant. So with this scene, Richard's cover is blown and Gerard is once again on his tail.
Yeah.
In the next sequence, Gerard finds out why Richard is spending so much time at the hospital before cornering him at City Hall on St. Patrick's Day. But first we see his compassion when he saves a young kid at the hospital.
Oh, beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Over to you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this scene because this is the one I just remembered, first of all, from this film, because it's such a cool move from Kimball, but it's so unnecessary at the same time, because it's so dangerous from this point of almost blowing his cover. He's completely at risk of doing that if he gets found out. You don't go, oh, God, this bit's so stupid. You go, this is so necessary because it does tell you everything about the character. As unnecessary as the action is, it's necessary to tell you about him because it's filled with tension. It's filled with the sense that he can't help himself. He's such a good guy. He can't help himself here, you know. But will this wreck everything he's done so far? But it's a different kind of tension to everything else. It's not a chase. It's not a fight. It's not a house being raided. It's a completely different scenario. And I think that's so much more effective than if you had just had another near miss with Gerard at this point. You need something different. And it's so well played by Ford because for the first time in ages, Kimball actually forgets the trouble he's in because for just a few brief minutes, he's a doctor again. And he's just back in his whole life, saving someone. The way he comforts the kid, working out immediately what's going on with the x-ray and then getting him into surgery. You can see just that mixture of pride and relief on his face. And that expression on his face contrasts so well to Gerard's expression the next day when he turns up to question the doctor about it. How's the boy doing? He saved his life. I love it when you get this from an actor when they just tell you everything with no dialogue. The wordless acting from Jones here, because that expression tells you everything he's thinking. Who is this guy I'm chasing actually? He's gone out of his way to draw attention himself by saving the kid's life. Yeah. This isn't adding up that this guy's a killer who killed his wife.
It turns the tables on Gerard's mind, doesn't it? It's kind of like, all right, am I chasing the bad guy here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first bit. Yeah. And the last thing about this, and I'm sure you guys are the same, but this was the first film I'd ever seen Julianne Moore in as the doctor who nearly nabs Kimball. Before we knew it was like one of the greats of her generation. You come back to this and you go, you know what? Limited screen time. You can tell she's going to have such an amazing career.
It's a real presence, isn't it?
Real present. And as always, just absolutely hot as toast as well.
Whew. Beautiful. But that whole scene when he saves that kid, I mean, who doesn't want to be that guy at that moment?
Yeah.
You want to have that authority. You want to have that knowledge. You want to have that intellect. You want to have that foresight to say, there's something wrong here and I need to fix it.
It's a beautiful moment just when the kid goes into the operating theatre or wherever
and he just says bye to him.
And he just kind of taps him on the cheek. Yeah. Bye-bye, Joe. Yeah. What a beautiful moment that
fantastic, is. Fantastic,
And I don't know why I like it. TLJ's pronunciation when he leaves Julianne Moore behind and he's messing about with the ID, he rips the cellophane off and he sees whose ID it actually is.
Yeah.
Desmando Jose Ruiz. Where you at, Desmando? I love it.
Wonderful. Like Matt said, Julianne Moore has a very small part here. And originally, her role was much larger. Warner's put pressure on the filmmakers to add a love interest. So this was written, cast and shot, but it was decided that the audience would struggle to sympathise with a grieving widow having a love affair while trying to clear his name, and I completely agree with that. There's no room for this.
No.
That's the 3-hour cut, surely.
I was going to say.
It makes no sense.
No, that'd be awful.
But understandably, Julianne Moore was pretty upset about this.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been cast as the love interest in the film, essentially, and her name is fourth in the credits.
Yeah.
But I think that's there as maybe a bit of an apology. Yeah. I'm really sorry. We'll put you fourth.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
But despite all that, her performance did catch Steven Spielberg's eye, so lucky in that respect. And she was cast in The Lost World as a result of her performance here.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not shortcuts.
No.
This one.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So following this scene, Richard goes to City Hall to smoke out one of his possibilities. But obviously he's barking up the wrong tree, and because Gerard is now on the same scent to Kimball, he's going to pay a visit to the same person as well. Love the writing here. Everything's coming together. And this goes back to a few things that I was saying before. Gerard is so close to Richard, but he manages to give him the slip, believably from an audience point of view. Really good visuals here with Gerard seeing Richard through the stairwell. That's how close he is.
Yeah.
And he still slips through the net. I love Richard's decoy. He feeds the police some line about a man behind him waving a gun and screaming at a woman.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
But also, like I said, with Gerard's ruthless takedown of Copeland, he squeezes off a few shots at Richard as well, who was only saved by the bulletproof glass. Another great visual with his foot caught in the door.
Yeah.
He would have been dead meat.
Yeah.
This despite the fact that, for me, doubt is beginning to creep in into Gerard's thinking.
Yeah.
Because when he's doing his search, he narrows the field to only include those with criminal records. So he's beginning to think in a different direction. So that kind of goes unsaid, but it adds to the complexities of this character.
Yeah.
What if he did shoot and kill Richard? I mean, I really don't think he's got just cause to gun him down in cold blood in this scenario.
The back.
In the back.
Fair enough, yeah.
So I like the complexity of the character. I like the writing there.
Yeah.
And Richard makes it out on the street alive.
He does. Just a great Indiana Jones moment, just getting that door. You just expect his shoe to fall off and then gets his shoe back. But it doesn't really happen. And yeah, he's out in the street, and we've got some great shots of Chicago here, really using the whole city as a real visual and a real character in it. From that rooftop shot where he's going through the plaza, some great aerial shots here, and then goes into this St. Patrick's Day parade, which nobody knew Harrison Ford was going to be there. You can see the reactions from people, and it's wonderful. But the thing that I get from this whole sequence, how beautifully this is shot by Michael Chapman. The lens choice is perfect because you see everything without it being distorted and looking like they just put a camera in there. It looks like it's necessary.
It's sharp, isn't it?
It's really sharp and it's really slow. They're not. There's nothing erratic about the camera movements. They're all very considered. And Gerard turns around at one point and just kind of looks behind him, doesn't know where everything is. And the camera's just very considered and it's just very patient and very slow, as if they've got permission to shoot there. So it feels to me like there's a big track or a big crane or a big steady cam that's actually moving around and everyone's just ignoring it. And I think that's credit to Chapman as well to make this look so good.
Without doubt.
That chase sequence as well, internally in the hospital, that's just so well paced, so well done. And it kind of gives you a sense of scale. In a sense of that he's actually got the upper hand here. Really, really fantastic stuff. Just from that last shot of Gerard, last shot of Tommy Lee Jones just jumping up in desperation to try and have a look further forward. Great. Just this whole sequence is just so beautifully shot in that it feels cinematic when it should feel like a documentary. That's what I really love about this whole sequence.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good.
And as we've been alluding to, this parade was shot during the actual parade. Ford and Jones went into the crowd without any rehearsals, just followed by a small camera crew. And the hat that Ford picked up wasn't a prop. He just improvised that for the scene.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Works a charm.
Straight out the bin.
Like nothing planned. We've only got one shot at this because this is an actual location with real people who don't know they're being filmed. The mayor of Chicago has given his blessing to film during one of the biggest days in the city's calendar. Yeah. Should we do any planning? Nah. Do it on the night.
But you can't tell. It looks like it's been meticulously planned out.
Yeah.
But maybe I think Chapman had thought out the movements and the lens choice and knew what he was going to frame. And it was the content that wasn't necessarily planned. But it feels to me like the whole crew knew where they were going and what they were going to do with it.
Content was definitely not planned.
Definitely not. No.
Unbelievable.
But the moves, I think, were.
Ford kept a low profile before he was recognised, so they had to get it all done quickly. I think you can tell because there isn't a shot that goes beyond maybe 10 seconds.
No, because people are kind of starting to realise then it cuts.
Yeah. And there's it's a really small detail, but there's a really weird line from the announcer at the parade, which was obviously a real announcer because it's a real parade. Yeah. I imagine he's talking about the baton twirlers. He says, "There's definitely no arthritis in this group."
Can overdub anything. Leave it in.
Leave that in.
But also, very interestingly, there was another film being shot on the day of the parade in Chicago. Michael Apted was filming Blink, starring Madeline Stowe, and the two crews bumped into each other a couple of times during filming.
Like, what are the odds of two films shooting guerrilla style during the St. Patrick's Day parade in
Just
Chicago?
Banging into each other. All right.
Yeah.
You got anything good? Yeah. What lens you want?
Like that bit from Shaun of the Dead where they just cross paths.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right. Exactly the same. Right. Yeah. Hello.
So another cat and mouse chase with Richard giving Sam the slip yet again in a brilliantly chaotic sequence.
Fantastic stuff.
The crew.
A lot of strong elements working well in the crew, but that's probably not reflected in the screenplay for The Fugitive, written by David Tsui and Jeb Stewart.
Here we go.
We'll get to the incredible behind-the-scenes story of the script in a moment, but first, our thoughts on the writing of The Fugitive. Matt, it's over to you.
The way I'm going to look at this is that in the 90s, there seemed to be this glut of films that were adaptations of TV shows. You had The Saint, The Avengers, not that one, the other one, Lost in Space, Wild Wild West. This is the only one that worked. This is the only one that's memorable. I think that's because the episodic nature of that show works as a feature film, because the others have a story that needed to be played out over several seasons, or there was series that suited the 45 or 50-minute format, whatever it was, with self-contained stories. And I think The Fugitive has both. Like, each episode was self-contained, but there was an ultimate end goal. And I think being able to combine those elements in the writing is what made it work on screen, and it still has that episodic nature to it. It feels like this is a film where there's a cliffhanger every 20 minutes, the train crash, the jump from the dam, the raid on the house. Brilliant. Kimball putting this piece of the puzzle together. How's he going to get out this time? Tune in next week to find out. That's the kind of flaw that I think the writing has. So it shows its TV roots, but in a good way now. How much of that was planned? How much of that was just done on the day by a variety of people? How much of that was just down to sheer luck? That's another question entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
We've talked about the issues with the writing. We've got more to say later. But what I really like here is the detective story. Not one, but two of them.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
First off, you've got Richard's investigation into who this one-armed man is, the reasons for wanting Richard and or his wife dead, the test results of the Provasic, whose lengths, all of that stuff which he hopes will clear his name. It has to be complex enough for it to be overlooked by the police. And I think the writers managed that very well.
Yeah.
And it's not just Richard keeping a low profile until Gerard works out that he's innocent because, as he said before, I don't care. Gerard isn't there to prove innocent or guilt. He's there to take Richard in.
Yeah.
And Richard knows the way that injustice prevails, so he has to conduct his own research if he wants to be proven innocent.
Yeah.
And then you've got Gerard and his crew hot on the heels of Richard. They carry out their own investigation into the circumstances surrounding Helen's death so they can question people close to Richard in the hope that they can narrow down his whereabouts, maybe. They're always tantalizingly just one step behind Richard at every turn. And for the most part, they are solely focused on Richard as a suspect because, that's their job.
Yeah.
That is until the two detective stories converge. Richard leaves a trail of breadcrumbs for Gerard to arrive at the conclusion that Kimball is innocent because the evidence is too compelling to ignore. Brilliant. Really like that.
Yeah.
Now, whether that was Jeb Stewart, whether that was David Toohey, whether that was Andy Davis, whether that was any member
Davis'
of the cast
sister.
or crew,
who
knows? Yeah.
Sister, yeah.
But I think that's really good writing.
Yeah.
The narrative beats that come with that as well to get to that conclusion at the end. It may be bottom loaded, but really like the writing from that perspective.
Yeah, I think what I really like about the writing is that it kind of subverts the characters, and there's a real lack of cliche here. The escape criminal's the hero, and then you've got the detective who's the bad guy. You've got the whole group that is around the detective who, like Matt said, there's nobody who's just fumbling around, who's going to mess anything up.
I like that.
There's no character in here that you would expect to act the way that they act. His best mate's the bad guy. Everything kind of subverts the expectation, and I think that's what's really important in the writing. And I think what else works in the writing, like Matt said, it is episodic. All of these bits that we've talked about, like he saves the kid's life. You can see the elevator doors shutting, and it's like, this is what's going to happen next week.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, it is consistent about what this journey is, and it never loses track of who Kimball is and what he's trying to achieve. It doesn't sidetrack. Yes, there's plot holes in it, but that's always going to happen when it's just been put together as it's been put together. And I think the issue with the writing is that they had too much to play with. They had too much to try and fit in.
They were trying to condense a whole TV show into a 2-hour film.
Exactly. There's so many things you can get excited about. Where's this guy going to go next? Who's he going to bump into? What about this? What about this backstory? What about this character? And I think a lot of it is they had loads to play with. They had to play with the tapestry, and they needed to make it into a comic book. Do you know what I mean? It's like we need to condense all of this massive renaissance down into something that actually makes sense. And it does make sense, and it is enjoyable, and it does flow, and it does work. The problem with the writing is I think that both Jeb Stewart and David Toohey just got too excited.
So as we've mentioned, The Fugitive was based on the 60s TV show of the same name that ran from 1963 and 1967. It was a massive show, with the finale being watched by more than 78 million people. Despite the claim being refuted by the makers of the original show, it's been noted that it was partly inspired by the true story of Sam Shepard. Not that one.
No.
A doctor from Cleveland who was found guilty of murdering his wife at their home. He went to jail, but he was later released after a retrial.
Producer Arnold Copenson loved the show and had been trying to get an adaptation off the ground since the 80s. Co-producer of the film, Stephen Joel Brown, said that Copenson was on a quest to get the rights for that show.
Wow, loved it.
Yeah, absolutely loved it.
And a number of screenwriters wrote unsuccessful drafts, including Walter Hill. And Hill's version of the film had Sam Gerard hiring a one-armed man to kill Kimball's wife because of Kimball's botched surgery on his own wife.
Really, Walter Hill, that. Lovely. In a swamp.
Yeah.
Writer David Toohey's first script was horror film Warlock from 1989, produced by Copenson.
Yeah.
They didn't really get on with each other. Toohey said that they were like oil and water. Copenson even fired him from the set of Warlock before he reluctantly hired him back. On set, Corpelson told him that he was adapting The Fugitive. Tui said, Arnold, you've got Les Miserables on your hands. Catch it. Corpelson was impressed with his comments and struck a deal right there and then, despite their differences, for Tui to write a screenplay.
Wow.
Right.
Tui's original script was a huge adventure spanning the length and breadth of the US. The final act would have been stretched across 3 northeast states. Kimball's deceased wife, this is amazing, Kimball's deceased wife was a coal baron's daughter. Turns out that the one-armed man worked at the coal mine, lost his arm in a horrific accident, and killed Richard's wife as revenge on the coal baron. Brilliant. Les Miserables right there.
Steals a loaf of bread on the way.
Yeah.
This is insane. Kimball wound up having an affair with his dead wife's sister while on the run and found out that their dad was a horrendous person who had molested his 2 daughters. Corpelson didn't like this idea. I mean, of course he didn't.
Of course he didn't.
But maybe not for the reasons that you would think.
Because he said to Tui, that's nothing anymore. It's almost fashionable to abuse your daughters in the movies now. Everybody does that.
What? Wow.
Dear me, Arnold. The 90s.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, the 9th century he's from.
Wow. The end scene was a showdown between Kimball and his former father-in-law at the coal mine. I mean, what's going on here?
Mental.
Ultimately, Tui was taken off the project and replaced by Jeb Stewart. Ironic considering Stewart was the original writer on Die Hard, and a lot of his ideas were trashed when Stephen E. D'Souza came on board.
That's right, yeah.
That's right,
Forgot
yeah.
about that, yeah.
And Stewart thought the script I had was too expansive. It would work on episodic TV, but not in a 2-hour movie, so he scaled it right back. And he said, to me, that problem is really simple. I didn't kill my wife, and nobody believes me. And the only way you can figure out what actually happened is to go back into the belly of the beast, which was going to be Chicago.
Brilliant.
A lot of what made it to the screen were part of Tui's original idea. The prison bus shootout, the train collision with the bus, and Kimball visiting a one-armed man in prison were all present early on. Originally, the dam jump scene was much larger in scope and set at Niagara Falls. Of course it was. Tui, God bless you. Stewart kept the premise, but trimmed down the scale.
Yeah, I mean, just the logistics of filming at Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Come on, David.
I mean, that's a huge script.
Yeah.
So as we've discussed already, a lot of changes were made to the script. Andrew Davis said that the screenplay was more of a loose guideline than a screenplay. He actually never met David Tui, but Jeb Stewart was on set doing rewrites every day.
Right.
And Davis also claimed that 70% of the dialogue in the film is improvised. He said, every morning I talk through the scenes with the actors, would improvise, rehearse, then shoot. And I'm sure the studio were just thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, some of the funniest lines in the film were improvised, such as Gerard saying, think me up a cup of coffee and a chocolate donut with some of those little sprinkles on top. Yeah. I mean, that's a great line.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Pantoliano and Lee Jones shadowed a real US Marshal in prep for the film, and he talked about a guy that jumped off a roof saying he did a Peter Pan. Both Pantoliano and Lee Jones loved it, and both wanted the line for their character. Obviously, Tommy won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
So we've got our second question from an ATRM patron. This one is Michael Smith. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
Michael says, hi, guys. Just wanted to say thanks for the amazing podcast. You're too kind.
Oh, bless you. Thanks, mate.
Michael, strangely, also says, my mates and I have a run-in joke about kidnapping Westy for a night so he can settle some of our more heated movie debates at our local pub in classic Westy style. Oh, classic Westy.
That's what he wants. Classic Westy. You don't have to kidnap us. Just let us know where it is. And if you're buying the pints, I'll be more than happy to turn up.
You weirded out by this at all, Westy?
Nah. Happens all the time. Kidnapping's a bit weird, but just, if you
kidnapping's strong.
It is very strong. Yeah.
Well, here's his question, Westy. Michael says the Fugitive throws us straight into the action with barely any setup.
Yeah.
Yet we're all in on Kimball from the start.
Yes.
What is it that makes it work so well? And can you think of any other films that manage to hook you emotionally without giving much backstory? As it's almost an homage to you, this question, Westy. Why don't you go first?
I mean, that's very kind. I think it works so well because it's Harrison Ford, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And we do get a really good, really well edited opening sequence that is terrifying. That really sets a tone where you think, I feel really uncomfortable, and it's an uncomfortable opening. For me, films that absolutely slam you straight in without any backstory to the character whatsoever, and I am hooked from the opening sequence. First one always is going to be Pulp Fiction. I'm in.
Right, yeah.
I am sold 100. Once that ding, I'm in. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit what happens after
Ooh.
that. I'm in. Mad Max Fury Road, I felt exactly the same with that.
Okay, yeah,
It's a
great.
slight voiceover of who he was. You know who Mad Max is, but it's a completely different take, and you are
Yeah.
in. Heat, I am always in,
Heat.
because that is going to
Brilliant.
explain as it goes. But the one that really first got me when I saw it, and we spoke about it before, is probably going to be the first foreign language film, is Le Samurai
Wow.
with Alan Delane.
Yeah.
That, I mean, just the opening shots of that, the opening credits, and then you realise he's on the bed smoking. I am hooked.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Perfect.
Incredible visuals.
Unbelievable.
Very similar to you, Westy. It's got a lot to do, pretty much everything to do with the casting of Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
Because it's Harrison Ford,
Yeah.
one of the most beloved actors on the planet. Put him in a position where we know he didn't do it. He immediately puts us on his side with a huge sense of injustice.
Yeah.
And we're bringing all of our emotional baggage to this particular party with Harrison Ford as Indy and Han Solo.
Yeah.
So if his beloved is brutally murdered and he's sentenced to death in the first 10 minutes, you're going to be
if you watch
furious about it.
Yeah. And it was tried and
course you
tested
are.
with Frantic as well, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we know
yeah.
where we are.
Really smart cast and allowing us to take quite a few emotional shortcuts. I think it's the emotional element that allows us to be brought in immediately. And with that in mind, other films that bring you in with an immediate circumstance from an emotional point of view, A Quiet Place.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We know nothing of this family, but that silent, devastating scene has got you invested straight away.
Anything of the monsters, really. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know nothing about them. It's sound. Still the greatest joke that has ever been cracked in ADRM history, Westy.
Oh, it's sound.
Yeah, great.
That's my absolute favourite. Yeah, that's.
If you don't know what that is, we talked about that on a double feature show, so you'll need to sign up to become a Patreon supporter to do that, please, because it was hilarious.
Yeah,
It's worth signing up just for that one joke, to be honest.
Just for that
Nothing
gag.
else.
Beautiful.
the only flash of inspiration I've ever had in my life, so it's worth signing up for that.
You're too modest, Westy. And I thought of two other films with similar concepts. A little bit left field for the first one, Buried, starring Ryan Reynolds.
Okay,
All right,
yeah.
And the other one, 127 Hours with James Franco.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I think because those two scenarios, being buried alive, being trapped, similar themes and ones which I just think are relatable because it taps into emotional primal fears.
Right.
So I think you're just invested in those characters and you just want a happy ending for them.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
No.
What about you, Matt?
Very much the same. It was literally the first thing I wrote down, the casting of Harrison Ford at that point in his
course it
career. The fact that the situation he's in is obviously just so like instantly understandable. That's the last position you ever want to be in. And the fact that it just goes by so fast. I mean, probably too fast, as we've been saying. There's a lot of plot holes, but then bam, 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 he's on death row straight away. So that really helps. And then in terms of other films that work emotionally without too much backstory, one we talked about fairly recently on a double feature, but the opening of Carrie, by the end of that shower scene, you are 100% on Carrie's side. You just want her to be okay for the rest of the film. I think similarly, Gravity, you don't get too much backstory with
good.
Bullock's character before, it all goes to shit up there and you just want her to make it back okay because, I mean, just by herself in like seemingly unsurmountable odds.
Yeah.
And the other one as well, I think Up, the Pixar film, once you get through that first 10 minutes, that married life sequence, just incredible storytelling without a word of dialogue. And you're just so invested in that story from that moment on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put Apocalypse Now in there as well. That performance from Sheen. I'll shoehorn that in anything.
It was the segue from Up to Apocalypse Now that I'm laughing at.
Well, when you've mentioned Up, Matt, you know what springs to mind? Apocalypse Now.
There's classic Westy and classic Matt side by side.
Both colliding like a train and a bus. Amazing.
Wow, I've actually pulled a muscle in the side of my back.
I love Monsters Inc. What do you think of The Thing? Let's go over it.
Wally's great. Well, Last House on the Left. Wonderful.
Oh, all right. Okay, great. Sorry.
Thank you very much for your question, Michael.
Yes, thanks, Michael. I'll see you in the pub, bro.
His round.
Absolutely. I'm not paying.
It is a wonder that we are brought in emotionally, considering the haphazard nature of the writing, but there are some real strong elements that shine through in the screen.
Yes, definitely.
Now over to the score by a man that we've talked about a few times on the show.
Yeah.
It is James Newton Howard. Now, I think Newton Howard's score works effectively because I think it mirrors the film's central cat and mouse dynamic across Chicago and, the outer areas.
Yes.
The music's got this kind of relentless pulse. It's always there.
Yes.
It mirrors Gerard's pursuit. You can feel Kimball's desperation in those drive-in string sections. Always one step away from being caught, and Gerard always one step behind. And I feel as though that's mirrored in the music.
Yeah.
He amplifies the score with those expansive shots of the city, but then in the quieter moments, the more claustrophobic moments, the music becomes sparse, almost tingling with anticipation. But it's not just about the action scenes. There's a wonderful, comforting piece of music when the scene that we talked about when Richard helps Joel out, the kid in the hospital.
Yeah.
When he gets wheeled away to surgery, there's something really nourishing about Newton Howard's music there, emphasizing Kimball's character as we talked about.
Yeah.
He knows when to pull back as well during quieter moments, placing the emphasis on the character, but his work elevates the scenes that aren't the most well written. I think maintaining a sense of urgency and stake. It's not going to set the world on fire, this score by Newton Howard.
No.
There are no real themes you can grab onto. But overall, I think the music sticks to the film like glue.
Yeah.
I think it's really solid work.
Yeah.
What about you, Westy?
There's a lot of music in this film, isn't
A
there?
load of music.
Nearly every scene, there's something to back it up.
Load.
Apart from, when I watched it again, a lot of Gerard's scenes, when it's in the police station especially, and he's talking to his crew, there's no music to back that up whatsoever, because there's no emotion attached to it. Once Gerard starts getting more emotional, the score starts to creep in. Everything with Kimball, there is an emotion, and it absolutely works. I mean, there's the chase before the St. Patrick's Day, there's just the pulse underneath it, and it just builds, and it really works. What James Newton Howard was doing at this point, I can see a lot of it in his work now, but it's a lot more confident now. I can see a lot of this in The Sixth Sense. I can see a lot of it in Unbreakable. Everything he did with M. Night Shyamalan, to be fair. A lot in Unbreakable. He can really do pounding kind of action and really push things along. And I don't know whether that's Andrew Davis putting a lot on James Newton Howard here. Put this music here to explain what's going on here. And I think with less music, this might be a better film.
Wow.
Not taking that away from Newton Howard at all, but less is more for me. Always is. And I think if you take some of the bits out, especially some of the action sequences, it doesn't need a lot of this music. But I think he's just overused. And I know he kind of maybe felt the pressure from that, but it's Davis as well. He used 6 editors. I'm surprised he hasn't used 3 composers. But to be perfectly honest, James Newton Howard has done the job of 3 composers.
He's done the job.
On this film.
He definitely has.
Yeah. It's a very, very 90s soundtrack in the sense that if this was an 80s film, it could be an absolute cheese fest, inappropriate theme song at the start. But I think
absolutely, yeah.
By the time you get into the 90s, this kind of film, they're moving away from that. And obviously it has a much more serious tone. And I think the music fits that. And I say it is very 90s. I mean, there is still a lot of synth in there, but it's not the kind of warm, burbly synths from like Beverly Hills Cop, is it? This is kind of like icy.
It's not To Live and Die in LA, is it?
No,
Exactly.
It's more traditional, isn't it? It's more strings.
It's more strings based.
It's more orchestral.
More orchestral stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it reminds me of stuff like Bjork would use in her music, those kind of strings.
Okay, brilliant, yeah.
So I think for the most part, it just kind of bubbles underneath the visuals. But then you get that montage sequence where there's no dialogue. Kimball's putting his plan in operation. Gerard's putting his leads together. And you get that big swell of orchestral music, those big strings over the top of it. So, you never see The Fugitive mentioned in terms of great soundtracks, and I think that's fair. I'd agree with you, Luke. There's no massively memorable themes here, and it is of its time, but it does do the job it needs to. And maybe, like taking Westy's point about, is there too much? Maybe the job it needed to do was act as a big stick and plaster over everything. When they've got, as we've been saying, they've got 6 different editors working on different bits, and they've gone, let's just have loads of music because I will knit it all together somehow, hopefully.
Yeah.
Newton Howard had worked with Andrew Davis before on The Package, which is a Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones film from 1989, and it does actually share similar plot points to The Fugitive. And Davis said he really was a great classical player. He could play anything, but he also had a great sense of rhythm. He could work in the classical world, and he could be very funky and hip at the same time.
I think he's just described you there, Westy.
Well, absolutely. Apart from funky. I don't think I'm funky. I'd like to be. I'm definitely hip, though.
Hip replacement.
Oh, that's just classic. Yeah, let's build us up and then knock us down immediately. I love it. It sounds like you, Westy. You fucking old bastard.
And I know what he means, though. It's got kind of like a solemn orchestral feel, but then there's some drum and jazz piano thrown in there.
Yeah.
And he'd been working since the early 80s in movie music, and he just received an Oscar nomination for his work on Prince of Tides as well. So he was making a name for himself.
And despite his pedigree, he said that The Fugitive was the biggest film he'd worked on up to that point, and that he was terrified when he was first hired. One particular moment when he was scoring the scene when Richard steals the ambulance and he's being chased by the helicopter, he initially used temp music, right, by, who are you going to go for? Jerry Goldsmith and John Williams.
Of course.
Fantastic. Set the bar.
Yeah.
He said, I was ready to commit suicide because they were just so great. It scared me to death. Like, he's really got to match that
Well,
vibe.
don't go for Williams and Goldsmith.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he need not have feared either. He was Oscar nominated again for his efforts here.
Yeah.
And the score for The Fugitive has been used as temp music in the industry for years as a blueprint for directors in the genre.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
A wonderful full circle moment for him. Very
Definitely.
nice. So solid work from James Newton Howard, complementing and sometimes elevating the material.
Yeah.
Finally, we're talking about a cinematographer who'd seen it all and worked with some of the very best on some of the very best. It is Michael Chapman. Away you go, Westy.
I mean, Michael Chapman, for me, one of my very favourite DOPs from the early work that he did. And I think he did a lot of work where he kind of disappeared into it and became just part of what we now know as kind of late 80s, 90s films. I mean, he did The Lost Boys, and nobody talks about it. You know, he did Ghostbusters 2, and that has a very similar look to this. It's far removed from his work he did on Raging Bull and Taxi Driver.
Taxi Driver, yeah.
But I feel like Michael Chapman on this film was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be inspired by. I don't quite know how to make this look any different than it just absolutely needs to. The bits that stand out to me, like I've already said, is the St. Patrick's Day Parade, where it's so beautifully considered. And I think that was the point where nobody else knew what was going to happen. So Chapman took that on and said, I can do this bit. Because that, to me, is a cinematographer shooting that. That's not a director.
Yeah.
That's a cinematographer framing that, because the director's got no say on what's happening. He has no idea what the content's going to be. And that's where Chapman shines in this film. All the other scenes, for me, he kind of just sits into the background. He was ticking the boxes, and he does tick the boxes because he knows what he's doing. And it still looks great.
Oh, it looks amazing.
But you don't go, wow, it really stands out. I think it's just quite generic in what Michael Chapman can do. And I don't think there's that amount of time to consider that. So it needs to just be on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a weird career. I can't quite make sense of it, as Westy says,
Crazy,
starting off. Like, first film is The Last Detail, working with Hal Ashby.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive for your first film.
Yeah.
And then, as we've been saying, Scorsese, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but then ends up doing the like of The Lost Boys, Kindergarten Cop. It's like inexplicable. And my feeling with this, it's like he's been given this job and he's like, oh yeah, I used to work on really great films because I'm actually really, really good at my job. And this does remind you there's a reason he was so highly valued by the likes of Ashby and Scorsese, because I've talked about the editing given this film pace, but I think it's hand in hand with what Chapman does, which elevates this film. So much location shooting to do, relying on that light to work in what looks like quite crappy weather conditions as well. Like, not as this strikes me as being easy, but he gives so much attention to the scene, particularly in the parade scene. So if this is Chapman's last gasp of greatness in terms of not necessarily his greatness, but the last great film he worked on, apologies to Space Jam fans if you're a big fan of that. Sorry. But what I think he's done a hell of a lot to really help out a very troubled production. And whether, as Wesley's been saying, whether that was 100% of what he could do or whether it's what he personally wanted to do, I don't know. But he's done a lot for this film.
I do love his work here. I really think it elevates this genre. Because nobody's shooting an action thriller like this.
No.
This constant barrage of imagery, the tracking shots of the city, the god shots looking down from above in Chicago. Then you've got those shots of Richard running through the woods. Incredible stuff. And I think what he does is draw you into the location, using the camera to put you inside Richard Kimball's experience. Those handheld sequences make you feel like you're going through the darkness alongside him. And he gives you a sense of place, what it would be like sleeping with leaves as a blanket. There's a remoteness to the first half of the film that mirrors Richard's situation. And there's an amazing shot where Richard walks into a tunnel and he gets completely enveloped by blackness. A beautiful frame and a really good visual metaphor for his circumstances.
Yeah.
Then the way that he contrasts those expansive wilderness shots with the claustrophobia of Chicago's urban sprawl creates this rhythm, this visual rhythm. It's metaphorical of Richard's journey from hunted animal to a determined man fighting for his life in the city.
Yeah.
And if you get somebody like Chapman on board, you're elevating the film straight away for me. Mm-hmm. But it was not all plain sailing as we would come to expect from this film and this production.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chapman was hired 1 week after filming had started. The original DP, who remains nameless, we will never know, was fired. Chapman wasn't blown away by the project and quoted Warner's a hugely inflated fee, not expecting them to pay up. But to his surprise, they did, and he was in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they kind of had their backs to the wall considering production had already started and the timescales, and they needed an experienced hand with a proven track record as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he also didn't have the best of times on the shoot. He hated the cold conditions and really didn't get along with Andrew Davis. He's never gone into details, but just said it was a very bad mix. It just didn't work. And I used to say to them, look, I haven't cashed the chechs. I'll give you the money back. Just let me out of here, please. I'm begging you.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it feels to me watching some of it, if I'm completely honest with you.
So a talented crew on The Fugitive, the experience and professionalism of Newton Howard and Michael Chapman help elevate the material despite a few issues here and there, particularly in the screenplay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All Right Movies will be right back. Thank you for supporting us by listening to the sponsors for this episode. John, I've been listening to something I think you and our audience would really appreciate.
Oh yeah, film podcast, is it?
Not quite. Music, our second love.
Next best thing.
It's called Nakedly Examine Music. Mark Linson May hosts it. He sits down with songwriters and they completely break down 3 of their songs, and you hear the full tracks on there as well.
Well, I mean, that does sound pretty awesome. So a bit like a director's commentary, but for music.
Yeah, that's it. They go through every creative decision, why they chose that chord progression, how they built the arrangement, what inspired the lyrics. It's the kind of thing we do for films, but for songwriting.
Well, we do love music as well, so I'm sure our listeners do. I mean, we're always talking about how important music is in films, aren't we?
Yeah, always. And what I love is you see how these artists develop over time. It's like tracking a filmmaker's career. You can actually hear their craft evolving from their early work to their latest stuff.
Great. So have you discovered any new bands through it?
Loads, but it's not just about new music either. They cover legendary artists as well.
Phew, that's a relief, because I'd try not to listen to anything past 1973 if I can help it.
Of course you don't. But this does fill in those gaps. Honestly, it's made me pick up on things I'm not sure I would have before.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really useful for what we do as well, by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're my thoughts exactly. And if you want to understand the craft of music the way we do with films, I think this is essential.
All right, you've sold me. It's on the list. I might even be prepared to go past 1973 if it's as good as you say.
Well, it definitely is. So it's Nakedly Examine Music, available wherever you listen to podcasts or at their website, nakedlyexaminemusic.com.
Great, I'm going in.
Thank you for listening to our sponsors, and now it's back to the show.
The end.
After Richard has evaded Gerard's grasp, he makes a beeline for the only man left on his list. He's got his sights on Frederick Sykes and breaks into his apartment where he finds a big piece to his puzzle. There's more flashback to the night of, confirming to the audience that obviously this is our guy, and if we needed any more convincing, there's a prosthetic arm in the drawer. Very convenient, that.
Just stick it in the drawer.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Yeah, that'll do.
And as I'm going to take a slight aside here, I just want to say that when I was in Chicago, my first journey was on the L train.
Right.
I boarded the train, I sat down, and I kid you not, sat opposite me was a one-armed man.
What?
With a
No
prosthetic
way.
arm just like this, with a hook.
I thought you were going to mention something about the sound being different.
Yeah.
But like, there was that's even worse. Gee, did you just get off immediately?
It was terrifying. It's like this guy was an actor that was set up just for me.
Wow.
That is 100% true. I sat down and there it was. Oh my God. And if you're a fan of Adventures in Babysitting, which is also set in Chicago.
It is.
With a character who has a hook for an arm, only in Chicago, I'm guessing.
Wow. I know what you did last summer. Did he not lunge straight at your wife?
Yes, but back to this scene. Things are beginning to become a bit clearer to Richard. And I'm not going to pretend I know exactly what's happening here with Lentz and Provasic and
Please don't.
Sykes and all of these guys.
It's impossible. Nobody does.
Yeah. But what I do know is that phone call between Richard and Gerard is great. It's all the laughs at the office until Sam finds out this is really Kimball. He's trying to draw out the conversation to get a make on the location. But that's exactly what Richard wants, but he doesn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to solve a puzzle here. I am trying to solve a puzzle, and I just found a big piece. Great dialogue.
Yeah, that's great. And you think he's going to slam the phone down and he puts it on the desk. Yeah, I love that.
Going back to what you were saying about the episodic nature of the film.
Yeah.
That's where the end credit rolls.
Yeah, that's
on
great.
this particular episode.
Yeah, like episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And Richard slams that phone down, leaving in the trail of breadcrumbs enough to clear his name by leading them directly to Frederick Sykes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great narrative beat.
Yeah, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So straight from there, we'll find out where he is. He's in Sykes' apartment. Is it the one above or is it mine? It's yours. Everyone knows my name. Real family group. I love that. Absolutely brilliant. But when Gerard's there and we're going through with the Steadicam, really reminds me of that scene in JFK, Ferry's death.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
It's just that kind of the same kind of look. And it's a really, really great framing when Sykes comes in. Obviously, he's got the prosthetic arm. I think it might be one that looks a bit too much like a prosthetic arm because he's got the other one in the drawer. So he's like, this is obviously this. So I'm obviously being targeted by someone. So it's a bit of an alibi, I guess, what he's got. And explain what it is. But that framing of Gerard and the team, when he sits down, he's just, Gerard's in the middle, and you got the guys all just kind of peppered around him. You just go, they actually got his back, 100%. Who are you talking about? She just walks in with Kimball's picture, doesn't say anything. All right, yeah. He just knows he's got everybody under control.
Brilliant.
And it's this really great reading from Gerard. It's like, just wears him down just enough. And you want him to see it, just wearing him down just enough. And you know what it's reminiscent of me? You know what? It's when he kind of breaks character and he goes, whoa, that's a big fish. It's
brilliant.
The scene in Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Where he's like, that's a big fish, Doc. But you didn't wear the chain, did you, Doc? And he's kind of like just breaking character and trying to be something else. And it really reminds us of that because he just goes into a little bit more of a playful mood. And then you think, he's not going to say anything that's going to piss him off even more. Right? So he's just left the room and he says, how did you lose that arm? And this sums up the character. He's got a calm determination. He's determined, but he's so calm with it. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch. Somebody who's so determined to get in, but has a real calm, cool demeanor at the same time. And then as they're walking out, he's just lets out that, right, this guy's dirty. You get up and he knows exactly the next move to make. You see that guy next to Sykes, I want everything about him. I want his parents, I want his siblings, I want his pets. I want everything. Go, you go and do that. But at this point, he's thinking, he's the bastard, not Kimball. I want everything on him now.
Yeah.
And it's very, very subtle, but it's really well played by Lee Jones and everybody around him because I think everyone supports this. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing. I love the costume on Sam and his crew when they all walk out of Sykes' place. They all look like they stepped out of the 40s.
But he's got like the dark navy and they're all in like, as if they're like foot soldiers and he's the sergeant. Yeah, it's fantastic. Brilliant. Yeah, really, really brilliant.
And Sykes here, Andreas Katsoulis.
Yeah.
Now, we're of a certain age, us fellas.
We're not. I mean, I know what you're going to say. 45.
You know what I'm going to say? 45? That's us?
It is.
For goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, that's... Wow. I'll be quite frank. That's offensive.
I would guess 65.
65, absolutely.
Anything.
That's really unfair.
Dear me. And after this scene, I just want to flag up a moment where Richard goes to visit Bones, the records guy who gives him the liver samples.
Yeah, who never watches the news.
Never watches the news. Says, whatever happened to that thing with your wife? I mean, has he been living under a rock for a year? This is insane. Richard Kimball, the convicted death row murderer, has been splashed all over the news for months and months. And why would Chuck Nichols call ahead and tell him to give Richard whatever he needs as well? Because that happens in that scene.
Yeah.
He goes to see Chuck. He says, I'm going to see Bones. Make sure he gives us what I need.
Yeah.
Crazy writing.
Yeah. And then the marshals turn up and goes, I haven't seen Richard Kimball, as if he's defending him for something. He could have just been like, the guy, what happened with his wife, by the way? He's just been here.
Exactly. So why is he defending him?
I've got no idea. It's such a
if
completely...
he doesn't know what happened.
It's such a distorted character.
Is he?
And again, how much time has passed?
Who knows? Whatever happened with that thing? Oh, that thing with your wife when she got bludgeoned to death.
Yeah.
That thing.
You over that now, bro? It's been a year.
Yeah.
Hitting up that doctor at the hospital.
Yeah.
Because that's in my version of the script. No, Julianne Less, I think.
So then you get this scene on the train, and I do really love that trope where someone's in trouble with the law, the face is plotted all over the paper, and then some innocent bystander is reading it and slowly clocks them.
Yeah.
I mean, seen it so many times, but it always adds an extra level of jeopardy, which I enjoy. And just having a fight on a train is classic action cinema, you know, from Rush with Love, Spider-Man 2, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. It's also a great location to have one on.
Luke in Chicago.
Luke in Chicago, just scrapping his way, trying to protect his wife, obviously.
Same scenario, exactly the same.
Exactly the same. But where is Sykes hiding on this train, though? He just looms up out of nowhere, and he's a big guy. I don't think he could hide on there that well. And again, I think this scene, it shows up Davis's limitations a bit because, yes, it's a confined space. You can't do that much in it, but it's not the most convincing punch-up I've ever seen in a film.
No.
A lot of them don't look like they connect properly. You know, the kind of editing's all over the place. But what sells it is the performance from Ford, as always. You know, that snarl into his face, this is your stop. Like, for just a minute, for just half a minute, you think, oh, he might kill him now for pure revenge. That's how far Ford pushes it. But obviously he doesn't, because Kimball's desperation to prove his innocence is obviously going to trump revenge at this point. And he's off and running again. So not the most convincing setup and payoff I've seen in an action film, but it's snappy enough, and it just keeps the film moving again.
Yeah.
I like that it doesn't go on and on.
Yeah.
Sykes gets smashed in the face by the butt of a gun and he's down. Yeah. And that's realistic. I like that.
Yeah.
So Richard has snuffed out the immediate threat of Frederick Sykes, but there's a more treacherous matter he has to deal with. So Richard makes his way to the Hilton and tracks down his old buddy. He's finally unpicked the mystery. And I'm going to start off when Richard crashes the convention to confront his old pal Chuck.
Brilliant. Richard!
I'm American, honestly. I'm not Dutch.
I'm in the middle of this speech.
I'm Charlie.
Now, there's a nice bit of dialogue and delivery by Crabbe here during this speech.
Yeah.
He sees Richard, which throws him right off, which is great.
Yeah.
And he's in the middle of saying that Provasic has been created in conjunction with Chicago Memorial Hospital, which will continue the model of honest, open joint ventures, blah, blah, blah. A great bit of dialogue and circumstance there. I really, really like that.
Yeah,
Very
you
nice.
could see he's kind of recoiling as he sees Richard going, I was going to explain this, but I can't really say it now with such passion. Yeah, it's great.
And I like it when Nichols is laughing off Kimball's claims of him switching the samples as he ushers him out of the ballroom. He's kind of laughing his way back at the crowd. This is going to be fine. I'm just going to take care of this. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But as I said at the top, the film is bookended by some not great writing.
Yeah.
And it comes a little undone. And that's certainly the case here for me. I'm getting lost off.
Yeah.
Lentz was bumped off. Charlie borrowed Richard's car. Richard opposed RDU-90. What the fuck is RDU-90?
No clue.
Yeah.
Because it was causing liver damage. You switched the samples when Lentz died. What does all of this mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's too complex. It's too confused right at the end. If it was drip fed to us throughout, I think maybe it would be easier to follow.
Yeah.
And how does Gerard find all this information out in a very short space of time, largely off screen?
Yeah.
There's too much information being given right at the end. The wheels have come off.
Yes.
For me.
Correct.
But it's nothing that a good old dust-up won't solve, right, Westy?
Absolutely correct. I love that the fact the wheels are off because we've got nothing to steer here.
No.
It can go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it does. It kind of goes everywhere. The first thing I wrote down in my notes, because I knew this was the scene that I was going to cover, I am pretty sure this is what two doctors fighting would look like. And it is. It's the chair over the back. It's bumbling around.
Classic.
It's the fury. Yeah, it's a big chair over the back. Love it.
I love that move.
Yeah, there's just what we're missing is what we've talked about recently is just the shoulders, like with the coat over the shoulders and the big punch of the face. Everything else just seems like it is just, right, let's play this out. We've got one more action sequence. And everything is now kind of making sense. Yes, it's your best friend, right? Let's see how long we can play this out. Have we seen Die Hard? Yep, get him on the roof. Have we got a helicopter? Yep, let's get a light in there. Chapman's like, yes, just make sure you spotlight them. And oh, fuck's sake, just put them on the roof. All right, whatever. Yes, so they're going to go through a skylight. Yes, of course they are. Is he going to land on the lift and the other one lands on the bottom? Yes. Okay, let's just... And everything feels like a cliche upon a cliche here for an action sequence at the end of a film. But it's fun to watch. It's really great to watch
It is
them
fun
just
to
go
watch.
back and forth at each other, and you just think they're both kind of crap, but Kimball's got more to prove here. You want to see him kind of go for it. And it's not until they get to the laundry where things start to get really tense. But for me, this whole fight sequence and the whole end sequence, even to that point where he just knocks the gun out, it just feels like, when you're trying to tie a balloon and get that knot in just before the air comes out.
Yeah.
That's how I feel the end of The Fugitive is. This fight is like just trying to tie the knot of the balloon.
Just keep it together,
Keep enough air in it, please. Right, we've got the knot. Okay, that's fine. It's great, really enjoyable, lovely way to wrap things up, but very predictable.
Yeah, I like that shot when they fall through the skylight onto the elevator. Richard lands on the top and Nichols lands inside. I
love it when Nichols gets kicked down the stairs. There's no way you're coming back from that.
No, you're not.
Like, you're going to have a concussion or something.
At least.
I'll take advantage. Chase him down and stamp on his head or something. Just take advantage. Yeah. But no, everything needs to be done morally and it's fine.
And there were only a few weeks left of filming and they still didn't have an ending, if you couldn't tell by now. So Davis and Stewart with the Four Seasons in Chicago looking out into the city, and Stewart came up with the idea of a fist fight between Kimball and Nichols, which ended with Nichols falling through a skylight. And this was then beat into shape to get the ending that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that is not surprising at all. No. I agree with you, Westy. I'm kind of not that bothered about this fight.
No.
It's from the point where Gerard makes his presence known.
It's the laundry where it starts.
Yeah. Yes,
to work.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, because that bit when Gerard shouts out that he knows Richard's innocent, it's so well played by Jones because he's kept his claws so close to his chest that I don't even know up until this scene that he does think that. Because he's been so dogged and the pursuit has been so relentless.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We think that's his entire focus because, as he said earlier, he doesn't care. See, the thing he's not going to care if Richard's innocent or not, but this is why it's good to rewatch because you do sort of see earlier in the film, like that scene with Julianne Moore, the little flickers of doubt on his face.
Yeah.
If this guy's a killer, why has he saved the lives of two other people when on the run, when he didn't need to?
Yeah.
Because you can see Gerard has been juggling these two separate trains of thought at the same time of his job of finding Richard, but also putting it together on his own. And it's more effective because you don't get that cliched scene where he would spill all his doubts to Cosmo or to the rest of the team. Like, oh, you know what, maybe we've got the wrong guy here. You don't get that.
Nah, it never happens.
No, so what you get though is that great reaction shot from Richard when Gerard shouts out, I know you're innocent.
Oh,
his reaction's magnificent.
It's beautiful.
It's like, oh, you do know, and it's such a sense of relief.
It really is.
I'd go back to what you said, Luke. It's very convenient that all of a sudden he's spouting all this evidence that we've not been privy to. And when did he find all this out? That would be massively convenient if we could have been on that. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Andrew.
Yeah, but I don't know. Would have killed the momentum? Would have killed the surprise of this scene? Possibly. Maybe. But it is perfect how it goes from I didn't kill my wife, I don't care, to they killed my wife. I know it, Richard. I know it. It bookends that beautifully. And what I also like is it doesn't overstay its welcome either once it wraps up. Like a much more cliched version of this, you fade to black and then you get a title card fade in 6 months later.
Yeah.
And Richard and Gerard are at a bar and they're watching the news coverage of Nichols being sent to the chair, whatever.
Brilliant.
They just get in the car. I thought you didn't care. I don't. But don't tell anybody, okay?
Yeah,
and then off you go. That's all you need.
Lovely. It's a nice ending.
Yeah.
And during this ending, Cosmo takes a one in the face, a brutal blow.
Oh, it's a big one, yeah.
Joe Pantoliano went to great lengths to make his presence known on screen throughout the shoot.
Yeah.
Gerard's team didn't originally have a large part, but Pantoliano stuck to Lee Jones like glue, improvising lines to go into scenes.
So he was then stunned when a late revision of the script killed his character off. He went flying into Davis' office and in his own words he said, "Andy, what the fuck? You can't kill me." And Davis replied, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, what if there's a sequel?" And he says, "All right, we won't kill you. We won't kill you."
Well, Mason, that's all you need. Okay, fine. Yeah. So not necessarily taking him at his word, Pantoliano did a little bit of improv himself. After he was hit by the beam, he started to make these groans and noises on the ground. Ford walked up to him shaking his head saying, "You should be dead."
So Pantoliano said, "Well, what if there's a sequel, Harrison?" And Ford said, "There won't be a sequel because I won't be in it." Pantoliano replied, "Well, fuck you. Who needs you? We'll just chase another $20 million asshole through the woods."
Amazing.
And he said that Ford was on the floor laughing.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Love that.
So a very fitting and emotional end of the film. Gerard finally has his man, but he's not in cuffs.
No.
Reception and awards.
Not much was expected from The Fugitive, especially considering the chaotic nature of the shoot and the very small window for the production. When Andrew Davis showed Harrison Ford the film for the first time, Ford was full of nerves. But when it got to the interrogation scene, he saw that the audience would be invested in his character, and he reached over and gave Davis a kiss. Very nice.
Oh, nice guy.
How long's that? From watching it and being nervous to the interrogation scene?
7 minutes?
Yeah.
Very confident man,
So
obviously.
he didn't like the opening credits, is that what we're saying?
And Davis said that Warner saw the same cut that Harrison Ford did and said, don't touch a thing, we love it. But Davis said that he would then make 1,800 changes after that. But Ford was so happy and relieved that he called Jeb Stewart and said, I think we're going to work again.
It's unbelievable, the fear that everybody had about this film.
Yeah.
Understandable to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So the 3-hour cut was trimmed down to 130 minutes by 6 editors, and the film was released on the 29th of July 1993, 6 months after filming started. I mean,
That's
just
insane.
madness.
That's
Madness.
insane.
Word of mouth began to build after a very strong response from critics.
Yeah, Empire gave it 4 out of 5 and said, finally, as the year slips slowly away, a Hollywood thriller worth queuing to see, crammed with high-speed action, lip-chewing set pieces and crisp dialogue, and character-driven by 2 big-time performances from Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones, The Fugitive is far and away the most exciting adventure thriller of the year.
Very
Wow.
nice.
Big
Yeah.
props.
The Washington Post said that The Fugitive was a juggernaut of exaggeration, momentum, and thrills. It is pure energy, a perfect orchestration of heroism, villainy, suspense, and comic relief.
Wow. Roger Ebert then, the man on the scene, the main man, what did he give it out of 4?
Big Rog, 3.
3, yeah.
3. Well, he gave it a glowing 4 out of 4.
Really?
Right.
4
Okay.
out of 4.
Okay.
He said, The Fugitive has the standards of an earlier, more classic time when acting, character, and dialogue were meant to stand on their own, and where characters continued to change and develop right up to the last frame. Here is one of the year's best films. Probably it is one of the year's best films, but all of that before.
Yeah.
Come on, Roger.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Nothing about the plot holes.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Straight in there. Loved it.
So, positive response, something that is mirrored today with 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. 96.
96.
And 7.8 out of 10 on IMDb. Big scores.
Big, yeah.
And despite all the odds, The Fugitive became a massive box office hit. It held the record at the time for an August opening weekend. And on a budget of $44 million, it returned $368 million worldwide, becoming the 3rd highest grossing film of the year behind Jurassic Park and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
not have guessed that was number 2.
No, I wouldn't have either.
Maybe even more surprisingly, The Fugitive was successful on the awards circuit, despite the general consensus of the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joe Pantoliano recalled a time when production moved to Chicago. Tommy Lee Jones said, we're going to eat a lot of Chinese food, a lot of Italian food. We're going to have some fun. He told Pantoliano, we don't have to worry about this script because let's face it, no one's going to win an Academy Award in this one. Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That is a great story. That is wonderful stuff. Ironically, naturally, the film went on to get 7 Academy Award nominations. Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yep.
He did it. He did it, everyone. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He did it.
Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Score, Best Sound, and Best Sound Effects Editing, with Tommy Lee Jones picking up the award for Best Supporting Actor. Now, there, the irony is so thick.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
wonderful.
It's insane.
As we mentioned at the top, he beat a particularly strong field, remarkable considering he was up against Ralph Fiennes in Schindler's List,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is an incredible performance.
It really is. Yeah.
And here's an outrageous quote from Andrew Davis.
Oh,
He said,
God.
we got killed by Schindler's List. You can't fight the Jews, and I'm one of them. But I didn't get nominated for Best Director, which was very hurtful. And Harrison didn't get nominated for Best Actor, which was unfair. But the sweetest thing happened. Robert Altman was nominated for Shortcuts, which wasn't very good. He wrote in the trades, the only reason they're giving me this nomination is because I'm an old man. Andy Davis should have gotten the nomination. Give with one hand, take with the other, Andy.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, some boy, isn't he?
Yes, indeed. And The Fugitive was released in China a year after pretty much the rest of the world saw it in 94. It was the first American film released in China in almost a decade after the Chinese government put restrictions on foreign films after the release of First Blood in 1985.
Right.
So breaking down boundaries all over the place, The Fugitive managed the triple threat of critical, commercial and award success, something which would have been unthinkable in probably mid-1993, April, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Sequels and influence.
The success of The Fugitive could not be ignored for long at all. The IP was mined in a few different ways.
Yeah, it was readapted into another TV version in 2000, and that starred Michael D. Williamson, Connie Britton and Stephen Lang, although it only ran for one season. It was then put through the grinder again and came out in 2020 in a version starring Kiefer Sutherland. And there were 14 episodes, but in a break from tradition, they only averaged around 8 minutes per episode.
8 minutes?
8 minutes per episode.
Wow, okay.
Which amounted to probably a 90-minute film.
Yeah.
Disappeared without a trace, that one.
Not surprised.
It wasn't long ago. Then the Leslie Nielsen starrer Wrongfully Accused from 1988 was based on The Fugitive.
I remember that, yeah.
Being from the late 90s and starring Nielsen, I think you can guess what kind of film it was.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic is what it was.
His character name in that film is Ryan Harrison. Deary me.
Fine.
Anything for the money at that point for Leslie Nielsen.
Yes, yeah.
It has also been adapted overseas as well. There have been 2 remakes that came out of Bollywood and a 2-part miniseries from Japan in 2020.
I mean, we can't overlook the original TV source material, of course, but surely the main source of inspiration for those remakes have got to go down to the success of this film.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're not remaking the 60s TV show.
No, they're not. None at all. And that isn't the only thing that came as a result of The Fugitive's success. Joe Pantoliano was bang on the money. Ford didn't come back for the sequel, US Marshals, but they did bring in not one but 2 $20 million assholes to chase through the woods. Those guys were Wesley Snipes and Robert Downey Jr., huge names with big shoes to fill. Written by John Pogue, directed by Stuart Baird. How did they do? Have you seen the sequel, Westy?
A long time ago, I remember being so disappointed by it and for it being so detached from the tone that I didn't really understand what it was trying to say. And I thought if I watched it again, I would just be more frustrated. Then I remember not liking it at all and thinking that it missed a lot that I wanted it to hit.
Similar, I went to see it at the cinema when it was released, and I remember being really disappointed by it. So much so that I hadn't seen it until last week.
Right.
I wasn't holding out too much hope, which was quickly confirmed with the dynamics of Gerard and his team.
Yeah. Right.
They'd been clearly amped up in this bar scene near the start and had taken on more of a comedic edge, which I just wasn't wild about at all.
Right, okay.
And considering the writing on The Fugitive, and, you know, we've spoken at length about that, it's like Keats compared to US Marshal.
Keats, love
Keats.
that.
There are some shameless callbacks to the original. The outhouse speech, the siege on Copeland's house, the bus train crash, they're all here in a slightly different form.
Right, okay.
But the plane crash is impressive. It's an impressive sustained set piece. I did like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The film was nowhere near as bad as I remembered. Once I got over that bumpy ride of the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I think Snipes is always good value. Downey Jr. isn't at his best. But TLJ still gives a good account of himself. Not a bad film, not a great film.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not convinced to go back to it from that, to be honest.
No, I wouldn't bother.
Fair enough.
Put it out on the poster. ATRM, I wouldn't bother. So that leads us to our final Patreon question from Philip Beatty. Hello, Philip.
Hello, Phil.
He said, I thought US Marshals was a decent spin-off / sequel to this. He said, even though we're cheering for Kimball in The Fugitive and Gerard is seen as an antagonist at the start, the whole team had dropped into US Marshals as fully formed characters that we already know and like. Are there any other side characters or groups that you'd like to see again in another movie? Matt, over to you.
Wouldn't be a sequel because they all got killed, but a prequel seeing the Sulaco crew from Aliens would be a load of fun, I think.
Brilliant.
Seeing
Very
their
good.
first few missions
Excellent.
together. I think in a similar vein, would have been good to see the squad from Dog Soldiers, again, if that hadn't all been killed at the end, but
great.
previous one somehow. But one where they pretty much do all survive at the end, so we could have had a sequel, and I would have really liked to see all these guys return. Kelly's Heroes, Eastwood,
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
nice, yeah.
Savalas, Sutherland, Don Rickles, amazing cast.
Brickles.
In-
Brilliant. Yeah, I think great point and quite a rare thing in cinema to get characters like this that are dropped into another film and don't bring the lead actor along with them. I think the side characters that I'd like to see again, Rosewood and Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop.
Right.
Nice, very good.
We've talked about this a few times in the past. I'd love to see what happened at LV 426 before Ripley and the Marines show their face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love to see that carnage, I imagine.
yeah.
And I would love to see a prequel to Die Hard. Charting McLean's rise in the NYPD, I hear you're asking. I wouldn't have thought so. I want to see Harry Ellis high as a kite making billion-dollar deals for Nakatomi.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
There
like
you
that
go.
idea.
Buying the Rolex.
Yeah.
And that's where it finishes, is buying the Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
It's a Rolex.
Or Hans and his crew actually pulling some heists off and getting away with it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
What about you, Westy?
I would love to see the group from Predator, Dutch's group. I'd love to see them meeting where they met, how they all become
yes.
they're all really tight. They all know each other inside out. So I'd like to see them all together. But I'd also like to see why he's pushing so many pencils. What happened there? Why is Dylan not involved? What happened? I want to see that.
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Why the distance? So yeah, I'll go for Predator. Drop them in anything. But yeah, an early version of that would be great.
Brilliant. Yeah, love it. Great. Well, thank you very much for the question, Philip. That's our last one of the day.
Thank you, Phil.
A great one. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. Keep them coming.
Thank you.
And finally, in the years since its release, where have you seen The Fugitive's influence? What do you think its legacy is? Westy, you got a take on that?
I mean, every other film of the 90s, really. I mean, especially Ford's career. I think Clear and Present Danger, everything that come after that, Air Force One.
Air Force One, definitely.
A lot of that, where the main hero, I think that was the whole point of the 90s, where you have this really masculine character in the middle. In the 80s, becomes a little bit more fragile.
Vulnerable.
And really vulnerable, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think Ford really plays that role and takes it on and runs with it throughout his whole career. And I think that happens to a lot of different people through that point. It set a precedent, I think, from the lead male actor, in that you can step down and you can be vulnerable. And that's the main thing I get from this film.
Yeah, it's a shift in cultures from the 80s to the 90s, I think.
Oh, absolutely. You go from Rambo to Air Force One. Like, it's huge.
Matt, what about you? Fugitive's influence and legacy? What do you got?
Well, I think Tommy Lee Jones seemed to have this run of films where he was always tracking someone down. You had The Hunted with Del Toro, The Missing. Double Jeopardy. You had The Missing with Kate Blanchett. I mean, even No Country for Old Men fits into that, really. He's tracking someone down that as well. So
in The Valley of Ella as well.
Yeah, that as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that feels like what it influences to me. Obviously, this is a Harrison Ford film in that sense, and it was a massive hit for him. But this is the one that established Jones as a star in his own right, I think. And then legacy goes back to what I said about, there were so many TV shows being remade as films. This one, somehow, I'm not sure how, but this is still the gold standard of how you do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yeah, well, that's quite remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it broke new ground. It's a well-worn genre, Innocent Man on the Run, goodies versus baddies. Different spin on that, I suppose. But I think films like Enemy of the State, Minority Report, Born Identity have their roots in The Fugitive.
Yeah. Good point.
Taut, intelligent conspiracy thrillers. The cat and mouse narrative of this film, I think, can be seen in Heat. Not saying that they're identical, but I think they've got elements of it. Even something that you mentioned, Matt, like No Country for Old Men, it mirrors The Fugitive in a certain way.
It does, yeah.
And I think, absolutely. Tommy Lee Jones, this is where his career started.
Yeah.
And he'd already been in films for, 20 years or something? He was in The Coal Miner's Daughter, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
But this is where he became a bona fide star. Quite rightly as well.
Yeah.
So a lot came after it in more ways than one. And although it wasn't a wholly original story, The Fugitive breathed new life into a familiar genre and is still highly thought of to this day.
All the right movies ranking.
We've found that man. Now it's time for us to summarise and give our score out of 10 on The Fugitive. And Westy, it is over to you.
Like I said, my opinion of this has changed even over the last few years. It's a great film. It's very enjoyable, but I think it's one that my kids will suss out fairly quickly and one that we weren't ready for in 93. Because I think there's so much now, there's so much on television where they need to figure it out in an hour. And this will just be so slow paced and so old fashioned now, I think, narratively, and quite messy narratively, in that it didn't quite know where it was going. At the time, it really nailed it. It really was necessary.
It definitely did.
And it was fantastic from an action point of view, from a narrative point of view, especially Tommy Lee Jones and Harrison Ford, I think, put in two of the best performances of their careers, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And really turn people's heads and make them think that, oh, this is a completely different film. And they really elevated. If they weren't in this film, we wouldn't be talking about it.
We wouldn't.
That was shut
I
of
don't
it
think it
out.
would have been made.
No, it really, really wouldn't have been. There's a lot of factors that actually make this work, and it feels like watching this film is like a game of Kaplunk. Like, if one person happens to move out of it, the whole thing falls down. So it's a miracle that it works. It's a miracle that it exists. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's by no means perfect. It's by no means a film, after I've watched it 3 times this week, I'm not going to go back to it anytime soon. So it's not going anywhere near the top. So it's going to be an 8.5 for me.
8.5, that's still a damn good score.
Yeah.
And what about you, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a lot of ways it's actually quite remarkable how well the film holds up, really. And I think it does because it's so simple and there's nothing in here that has really dated that much. I mean, maybe the back projection for the train crash, and that's it.
Yeah.
The rest of it, it whips along, great location shooting. It's constantly intriguing, and it is powered by those performances from Ford and Jones. But I'm still just not sure how much credit can I give Davis for all this work, and because the big set piece isn't actually that impressively pulled off, I don't think. The fights aren't convincing, and I do start to tune out a little bit once we get to the hotel and, oh, it was his best friend all along, and it's to do with the medical conspiracy about some drug that I don't know or care about. And they have the showdown in front of everyone, which I've seen 100 times. It starts to get a bit cliched. And I think I would echo Westy's point here that the performances from Ford and Jones, they fall into that category of, are they that good that they're covering up a lot of the film's flaws? And if you had not even both of them, even one of them, cast as some, if that was Alec Baldwin, I like Baldwin, but how much of this film would work if that was Baldwin in there instead of Ford? Don't think any of it would really, would it? So ultimately, very enjoyable film. I would recommend it to people if some I haven't seen it, but it's not a personal favourite. It's certainly not without flaws. So I'm also giving it an 8.5.
Okay, right. Again, a good score considering your comments. You know, I've loved this film for 30 years. I've got a huge affection for it. It's got such rewatchability because of the performances and the huge cinematic moments that we've talked about. Those performances, I echo everything that you said. They're not there. Neither is the film. I don't think these kind of films come around that often, even less so with the way cinema is at the moment. All right, Grandad, of course, obviously. But this kind of mid-budget film with a top movie star is a thing of the past. It's a relic.
Yeah.
And that is a shame, making The Fugitive all that more special. I've noted the issues I have with the film, and there's some big uns. Really, this is a film that should not exist in the way that it does, or at all. But the 2 lead performances are some of the best to come out of the decade. Michael Chapman, I really like his work here, despite him not having a great time and not being at his Raging Bull levels.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm going to say it, Andy Davis, unlike what you've said, Matt, I think he should have had a better career on this show and alone, because I think when it comes to intelligent action cinema, I think he's done well, particularly considering the issues he faced.
Yeah, fair enough.
So having said all that, and in spite of all the issues, I'm going to go a step further than you fellas, and I'm going to go 9 out of 10 for The Fugitive.
Okay, fair enough.
Our 4th and final score for The Fugitive comes from our trusted confidants, our Patreon community. I'll give you the score in a moment, but first, some choice comments.
Nice.
Kate Porofsky said, I've been wondering for quite a while whether it's worth seeing this again, and I've always thought, no, but I was wrong. The tension starts at the beginning and continues to the end. It brings up resentment a la Hitchcock for the innocent being judged as guilty. This may not mean much if you're not American, but the city of Chicago achieves character status in this film. The Polish and Irish communities, the L, the iconic area adjacent to the river, and the river in its St. Patrick's Day green. It's just solid fun, adventure, and action from start to finish. I'm giving it a 10.
Wow. I mean, that's full marks, right?
Yeah.
She's giving it full. Coming in there real hot.
Real hot.
Well done, Kate.
Yeah, good for you, Kate.
Derek Horrigan said, just a comfort blanket of a movie. Harrison Ford giving a shit for 2 hours is always a treat. TLJ on top form and the smarmiest bad guy of all time. Wish they'd made a movie about TLJ's team of marshals. Oh, wait.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yes, very good.
That's good.
And finally, from Andrew, he said, I'm worried an 8 will seem insulting, but it's a really good film. I've always loved Tommy Lee Jones. Still enjoy the film after all these years, but it's never been a favourite and I can't think of anything really special to elevate it to a 9. Sorry if I've pissed anyone off.
I
He
can't,
seemed genuinely
definitely
concerned.
not.
imagine who you'd piss off for that.
Neither
like.
can I. I can't think of anything to elevate to a 9. I've really tried to get it
I'd
to an
like to,
8.5.
but yeah, it's just not there for a lot of us.
I think those are fair comments, Andrew.
You're right, if anything. Yeah.
And he wasn't the only one who was kind of underwhelmed by the film in retrospect.
I can imagine.
So based on all of that information, fellas, what do you think The Fugitive averaged out of 10 with our patrons?
I'm going to go a solid 9.
9.
I'll back my own rating and go 8.5.
It actually got a very respectable 9 out of 10. Very nice.
Oh,
It's
nice.
respectable.
Surprising,
Yeah.
if anything.
I don't know, to be honest. People do love it.
People do love it. I think there's a lot of affection.
There's yeah.
So overall, The Fugitive got a very good score of 35 out of 40. Join us again on All the Right Movies in 2 weeks. John, Westy and Matt will be back with Harrison Ford in the long-anticipated and highly regarded Denis Villeneuve sequel, Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
That should be jam-packed.
Jam-packed. It's a big one.
But yeah, I'm intimidated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revisiting Harrison Ford.
Villeneuve again.
Back with Denis Villeneuve, his third outing this year.
It's a fantastic film. Is it one of the best sequels ever made? Let's find out.
Well,
Oh,
let's see.
well, let's tune in. Tune in 2 weeks to find out.
Let's see.
Also coming this month are 2 brand new shows for our patrons, double feature in the watch list. So if you would like to listen to those, and we can't blame you if you did, join on YouTube or at patreon.com/alltherightmovies for the complete ATRM patron experience.
Absolutely.
Please do.
If you haven't done it already, please give us a positive rating wherever you listen to podcasts. You must like it if you come this far. So please, everyone,
Yeah.
5 stars all the way.
Yeah.
Don't muck about.
Yes, please. One click.
Yeah.
No words. It's fine.
As ever, social media is where it's at for your daily ATRM fix. We're on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, our making of movie threads go up on X, Blue Sky, and Threads. And just like our podcasts, they are extensively researched with all information corroborated by at least 3 sources or coming from the mouths of the cast or crew.
Exactly.
And you can join our Facebook group for another of our amazing movie communities as well. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/alltherightmovies. More new vids going up there regularly, so don't forget to check that out. And our website is alltherightmovies.com.
Sure is.
And that is a wrap, everyone. It is over. You know, I'm glad. I need the rest.
I don't care.
I know it's.
Don't tell anyone.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. We hope you had a great time. Come back in 2 weeks for Blade Runner 2049.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.